everyone. Welcome to another Critical Critique stream. We're early, late and early.
Wow, it's
Late and
only
early at the
6
same time.
minutes at most, or
It's only 5 minutes. So, yeah, 5 minutes. That's not that bad. It's not. But anyhow,
family
yeah,
wants
today's gonna
help
be
in the weekend, so
it's gonna be a
rescheduling.
slightly earlier day, but we're gonna be 5-0s in the chat. That's good. It's gonna be slightly earlier day, but we're gonna be we're gonna be having a good time nonetheless. So yeah, what's been going on?
I mean,
Up to anything fun?
there's been so much stuff happening already since the weekend.
Oh yeah.
We kind of for the chat we kind of are abandoning the newspaper thing. It's a little bit too much work.
Well, it's that, and it's not. I don't know if we'd say we're abandoning it. It's more that we just don't have enough news stories to talk about most of the time.
On a regular basis.
And we like. There's not enough and because we've been covering all these long videos as of late, we don't have enough fucking time.
No.
to between anime and talking about other stuff, we don't have any fucking time to talk about other shit. So we haven't been able to talk about all the safe.
Yeah, but this week there's been
this week we've got a shorter video, right? We found a shorter video that might be all right, right?
So the news is like
10 minutes,
Nintendo Switch new console announced and leaked, and Xbox is
leaked on Twitter, I guess. We're the official CEO. Or Japanese
I mean the specs.
Dude.
Like it has 12 gigabytes of RAM and this kind of chips.
That's respectable.
And
we'll see if that translates to better game performance. That's the main thing.
And I've been following the rap battle, Naretsu.
Oh yeah.
Have you been?
The rap battle. The rap battle.
Yeah.
I actually do know about that because Sitch and Adam were covering that on this stream, and they read out all the raps, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah,
this is getting fiery.
This is just like, it's happening over there, right? And I hear some rumbling, some names echoing through
like Drake.
The ether,
like Drake
and Hendrix. I don't know Hendrix, but I hear the name Hendrix whisper me on the wind. And then I hear there's an explosion happening over there.
Yeah, you hear the sonic boom. The sonic boom reaches you from far away, right?
It's like when clouds.
When lightning goes off, right? The lightning goes off, and then you hear the boom like 10 seconds later. It's like that.
And then the clouds all just fly away from that point. What's happening over there? And I go look, and then, oh my god! I don't know anything about this, and I know what happened here was nuclear. Was the worst ever.
I think one of the best, like the one that I remember the most from watching Sitch and Adam cover it was the one where one of them called the other one a PDF file, right?
Yeah.
And then the response to that was, yeah, but your mum abused you. Your mum molested you or something, and I'm like, damn.
Nah, Naretsu, I went deep into this, right? So the beef existed already. Blah 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 blah. That doesn't matter. Drake said some things about Hendrix's family, like your son isn't your son, and your
there was a lot of cuck shit going on,
and whatnot. Then Hendrix clapped back and say, "You hanging with pedophiles, and you are one actually. Also, you're a bad father, and you're hiding a daughter, and you're
all this stuff,
and you pretend to be white when it's convenient, and you pretend to be black when it's convenient. What's up about that? What is your identity? Who are you fighting for? And all that stuff." And then the without even then the second one drops, like the line of you're trying to hit a noon, but it's probably A minor. I barely know music, but I know that's a
That's
hard.
it's pretty good. Yeah.
And also the
Yeah.
thing, like, was it the thing you said from, oh, you say I'm a pedophile, but you got abused?
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently, Hendrix was never abused. He says something about his aunt was abused and it was bad. So Drake got it wrong.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, he's
Oh no.
and
So yeah, that's a fun Twitter thing that's going on right now, or a music thing, I guess. The rap battle of history is happening.
oh,
Or something
it's
like that.
even if you're not in deep in, if you just listen to the first, what's the first name, the big nuclear bomb name again?
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the name, but the nuclear bomb track, right? It starts with Hendrix addressing Drake's son, like, Drake, get out of way. I'm talking to your son. Hey son, Drake is terrible. Hey Drake, no Drake, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you, Drake's mother. Drake is terrible. Hey Drake, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to your grandmother. Drake is terrible.
I'm talking to your ancestors.
I'm talking to your hidden daughter. No Drake, I'm not.
God, yeah, no, it's definitely like, because like I said, such an animal reading them out on the stream after they'd covered whatever they were covering, and it was it was fucking great. It was pretty good. So
these
yeah,
rare
that's
moments.
one.
Rare moments.
These rare fun Twitter dramas. Now the question has to be asked though, right? How much of this do you think is legit, and how much do you think is this some kind of marketing stunt? Because
I don't think this is a marketing stunt. I don't feel like a fake. If anything, right, Drake is just trying to protect his ego, right?
Right.
While this Hendrix guy is just stabbing him repeatedly. Drake repeatedly is getting stabbed. Every cool thing that he does, Hendrix go, and this is why it's shit. And that is why it's fake. And this is why you're wrong. And this is why you're trash.
Right.
And this is why. And he's just going on, this is why, and this is why, and this is why, and this is why.
Yeah.
And what is Drake going to do? Oh, you got molested when he didn't. And even if
swing and a miss. Swing and a miss.
At a time where Drake really needed to get a solid hit in, but no, he missed. And even if like half of it is not true, it is stuff Hendrix believes, and it is stuff that Hendrix is angry about. So you can't take that away.
No. So that's one Twitter drama, I guess. And before we move on, I guess the only Twitter drama I keep seeing on my feed is the fucking Hades shit. Like, I'm just like, guys, come on. Because what's happened, the only update with that is people have been comparing Hestia, Greek god name, right? But it's the chick from Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, the one with the blue ribbon under her tits.
Yeah.
People have been like comparing the design from Hades to her, and it's literally just devolved into people who just want an excuse to shit on anime, shitting on anime like they do every other week, right? Because you have the one side which I'm more sympathetic to, which is self-defensive and being like, bro, why the fuck are you shitting on my animes? I just want to enjoy them. I don't care about your Hades, whatever, right? I just want to anime. And then you have the other side that's like, these fucking weebs, these Kuma weebs. They're fucking they don't respect the Hades design. They don't respect the Hades design because they're all brain dead Kumas, and they look at this shit. Look at this stuff from this anime. So
before
Kuma.
you go off completely, the only thing I saw of that was something like, oh, look at these SJWs, though they don't respect the Greek gods. Look, the anime got it
there was
right.
some all of this typically starts from like some one cringe guy on Twitter being cringe, right? It's typically how it starts. Is you have one guy that's like, because the guy shouldn't have compared fucking the anime to the Hades design in the first place.
Yeah, or to the actual
because
goddess
he knew,
design,
right? Because here's the thing, right? Because here's the thing. Because I reckon he knew that was the reaction he was gonna get. Was he's just gonna stir up these fucking sociopathic crazy people that have not left high school, right? They've never left high school and they still just want to bully people over anime. They're just waiting. Like most of them probably didn't even know what a fucking Hades was until yesterday, right? Right?
Well, Hades
they
is a
don't
big
give a
game.
shit. It's a bit no, I don't think they do. I don't think they do because they're not even fucking talking about Hades anymore. Ellie. They're just talking about fucking like how horrible anime is. Like it's just tweet after tweet after tweet
I've only
about
seen...
the animes are so disgusting. These sexist weebs,
No,
it's so
Naruto,
bad. And I'm just sitting here like, shut up.
The only thing I've seen
off.
like that cringe comparison between a anonymous marble statue, the Hades 2 design, and Hestia.
Yeah, and that's dumb.
Yeah,
People
and
shouldn't
I've
be fucking
seen
doing
nothing.
that, right?
I haven't seen the
because
conversation
you're blind
progress.
to every. Yeah, because you're always ignorant and blind to everything that fucking happens that makes your side look like shit.
Twitter is not my side.
No, because I'll sit here, Ellie. Do you realize how unfair it is to have me sit here, right? I'm gonna sit here and I'll be like, yeah, that guy that you're calling cringe, yeah, he's being cringe, right? I agree with you. And then when I bring up my example of all of these motherfucking sociopaths are being absolute crazy, tribally psychopaths, you won't fucking agree with me that they're also cringe.
I am not
just
going to
agree
put
with
on
me that they're cringe and we can move on.
Easy, Naretsu. I'm not going to put on mass societal sides. I'm not
no,
saying
I'm
that...
not putting on mass society. Ellie,
I'm not going to claim that
with me?
Naretsu,
Ellie,
I'm not going to claim that the guy is some alt-right guy. I'm saying he's cringe and leaving it at that.
No, Ellie. Do you agree that those people are cringe, yes or no?
Yes, and that's the end of it.
Okay, good. We're done. There you go. We're done. We don't have to.
You don't have to go oh, this is a leftist kind of deal.
Well, most of them are leftists, but that's not the point. The point is that they are sociopaths. It doesn't like sociopaths can be rightoids as well. I'm just saying, like every single time you'll do this thing where it's like all you have to do, Ellie, is just be like, yeah, Naretsu, those guys are being cringe, right?
That's how I started, right? Anyway,
just be no, those guys are cringe. But no, that's the only like drama that I've been noticing.
Well, except the Xbox drama.
Well, the Xbox drama. Maybe we'll talk about that after the video because look, people in the chat want us to get to the video, Ellie. They're hungry. They're hungry for the video.
All right.
But I will end right before we do get on to the video because I do have to like cap off the point I was actually trying to make about that drama. Before
you're going to continue that?
No, because my point was both sides, right, are being dumb. And what I want people to do, my main takeaway, is instead of trying to defend the honor of your anime, right, just call these people what they are. They're fucking sociopathic crybullies. And just call them out and move on. That's all you have to do. You don't have to like do this like cringe, oh no, my anime is better than your gay safe horny It's like, no, just fucking they don't care. They don't fucking care. They only want to make fun of you and fucking treat you like shit. But anyway, I'm the dad. I'm totally the dad. Also, I'm thirsty. I need to do my conditioning can, otherwise my throat's gonna die. So let's get the trans. You're the one that wanted to do more preambles, so that you got what you wanted. But anyway, so I guess we'll talk about what we're going to be talking about today proper. Also, I'm going to drag the video back because it wasn't at the beginning. So you found this video. This is a you video.
Yeah, I just scrolled down twice, and it is what happened.
So it's apparently about the cute white spider anime, the cute little spidery isekai. And I don't know if we had this discussion about it. I think we did in text chat, like during the long dark, right, when we weren't uploading anything forever.
Yeah.
We talked about the show when it was airing, I'm pretty sure, or we had discussions about it, and I thought it was really good.
Watching this video, remember that I never finished the anime, but because I also like read a bunch of the light novel and the manga was still going on.
I believe when like my point when I was talking about it was I was very impressed with the whole idea of having the anime kind of do parallel timelines where you have events happening in both the future and the past, and you're kind of jumping between the two different timelines in a sense, which I thought was a really interesting directorial decision to do it that way, because I think you mentioned in the light novel it wasn't quite so parallel, I guess, or something like. I'm trying to remember discussions we had
the
like
thing
years
was
ago.
is that the human side was contained into side chapters. Like you had two chapters of Spider and then a side chapter that happened.
So it wasn't quite parallel. It was more just kind of like, hey,
a couple side stories.
Happening.
It's kind of in the end it was kind of like what happened in the anime, but I assume I did. I assume I read the web novel, and it went a very different direction from the web novel to what I saw in the anime. So I assume editor, light novel version, adaptation.
Yeah, and I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I quite enjoyed my time watching it. I thought it was good. So it's going to be interesting to hear about how it was apparently wasted potential, Ellie. Wasting the potential of my cute spider waifu. But of course, before we do any of that, we have to give Sammy what he wants. There you go. Nice big one. Nice big one right there. Oh, I needed that too after screaming at you. I needed that. But anyway, now that's out the way. Let's get right on into it.
It's not unheard of for animes, especially isekais, to get bad adaptations. In fact, at this point, it's basically a staple. And even if the adaptation is done well, by the time it gets a second season, you've turned 30, your parents kick you out for not having a job or a girlfriend, and all your friends think you're gay. I'm 17, by the way, so this does.
I know. Okay, so before I was gonna say, chat, we implemented some new possible rules for this.
Oh yeah,
one of them was
I've forgotten them already.
I wasn't gonna say anything about it, but because I had to pause 20 seconds in, right? Because I had to pause 20 seconds in, we're trying to keep it to like one pause per minute. So it's gonna be like one pause per minute plus maybe a bit. Like we'll break the rules a little bit. It might be like one pause every 30 seconds or something, right? Like trying to pause when the guys have finished a sentence or made a point, right? It's basically
also,
instead of me just pausing all the time.
To put some conditions on this. This is a 10-minute video. We don't have to be.
This is a 10-minute video, so it's probably not gonna be.
We don't have to pause on 10 minutes maximum over me.
Yeah, it'll be like 10 pauses. Yeah, 10 pauses per video. It'll be a challenge. It'll be a good challenge, but I got to stop it there because the man just said he's a minor. We're gonna be done for abuse. We're abusing the kids, Ellie. Oh,
how many? He has no more subs, does he?
Oh, I don't fucking know. But he's 17, so
I can check on the side about pausing.
He's 17. That means in America he's a he's only only a child, Ellie.
He has like 3,000 subs. We're still punching up.
All right, we're still punching up. All right, he might be a minor, but we're still punching. I kind of want to address this though because it's like it feels kind of insane to me that you can. I mean, 17. Like it's insane when you think about it from the American perspective because I mean we got to shit on Americans every stream, right? But the American perspective of you're a minor until you're like fucking. Because down here he would be classed as a young adult, right? Because like 16 is like young adult territory. So if he's 17, he's basically like one stepping stone away from being treated like a proper adult, and you pretty much would be treated like a proper adult down here. So it's like
I think
the cultural difference.
I think there is. I don't know. I've never been into a criminal system at any age, so I can't tell if there's.
Know that I know these laws and these rules because I was a kid once, and I wanted to make sure I knew what they were.
Ooh.
I know what my rights were.
Planning crimes, kids, right? I see. All right.
Maybe do crime. No, it's because like it's good because at the time, right? I think I'm trying to remember, but it was in one of my like social classes in high school. We talked about a lot of the stuff. There was like a poster on the wall, and we got pamphlets about it as well. So it was like taught in school basically about like, okay, when you hit 16, you're able to start taking your learners to drive. You're allowed to be home alone on yourself. You're allowed to, there's a lot of like you get staggered freedoms down here where it's like, okay, 16 is like young adult, 17 you don't really get anything new, and then 18 you become like full fledged drink, drive, vote, whatever the fuck, right? You get all of your stuff, right? So there's this weird cultural divide, I guess, that I have with when I look at America, because a lot of Americans that I encounter online, they seem to have this weird thing where unless you're like 21, right? And I guess it could be because drinking age is 21 over there. I think.
Yeah, that is a thing.
That might be the reason, because it almost feels to me like they treat teenagers the same way they treat like a 5-year-old, right? Whereas down here we don't do that. we treat teenagers like they're teenagers. It's very, very weird. But anyhow, let's see what the kids got to say.
Yeah, I can't speak too much myself on the how young adults are treated. I mean, some jobs are encouraged when you're like 16, and you keep them until you're like 19. So it is very much still a transitional thing. And I did a quick look. There is no in the law. There is no medium. There's no the young adult law.
Yeah, and I think like for down here, it's less about like laws that are in like obviously voting law and drinking, all of that. I mean, one of the ones was you can drink with supervision at around 16, 17, I think. So as long as you are around a parental caregiver or something, you're allowed to drink, but you can't obviously buy alcohol. So there's a lot of stuff like that it's like 50% the law and 50% just cultural stuff, right? Where it's
I mean the driving over here, right? You can start driving when you're like 16. But you get a driver's license that you can only use when you got a actual your parent with a driver's license.
Yeah, then, we call that a learners. We call that a learners down here.
Yeah, probably the same. But I just went straight for the driver's license. I didn't have any parents in the same car. Yeah.
Yeah, we call that a learners. There's interesting cultural differences, I guess. But anyway, let's see what the kid's got to say. Maybe he's got something to say. We don't know. Just because he's a minor doesn't mean he necessarily has to be dumb. All right, that's what I say.
Doesn't really apply to me, just in case you were wondering. But one thing's for sure, whenever it comes to animes getting their source material done justice, it rarely happens. And one such isekai is Soma Spider So What? Or for my Australian viewers, So I Slept with a Spider So What? Now,
was that a minute, Naretsu?
I don't think the translation from normal English to Australian would be something like. I get the joke he's trying to make, but I don't think it. I don't think it works.
Nah, I don't. A little bit too much on the vulgar, a little bit too much on the.
Yeah,
Naretsu, quick. What was the I'm a spider, so what? What's the Australian version like? I'm a harmless creature, so what?
It would be something like, shit, mate, I'm a spider. Ah, well. Fuck it. Shit, I'm a spider. Fuck it. There you go. There's your Australian translation. Even though I'm a Kiwi, I do have a little bit. I can speak a little Australian, so.
I don't.
But no, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna. It's fine.
My angle was more of like, hey, Australia is of course a hell with all the toxic and venomous species over there. How can we?
Samu's Australian. Oh shit.
No.
Oh no. But yeah.
I would go for an angle more of like, I'm a harmless creature compared to everything else here.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep going. Let's see what
To
he's got
give
to
you a rough idea of what I'll Make You Crap Your Pants So What is about, it starts off as this story about a girl, Hiro Wakaba, who's being ostracized from her class and being bullied by the other girls, while all she's doing is just reading her favorite S-tier manga. But Megumi had found her new favorite target and decided to blow up the very school that they were in. And after that happens, we found out that all the people who were caught up in the explosion, say it with me now, reincarnated into another world. And it's got all the tropes that
I don't like
this.
this.
Definitely feels like a video made by a 17-year-old.
This goddamn background music. I've heard it too much.
Yeah, but it's this is very zoomery humor. It's very oh haha ironic. Yeah. I don't really have much else to say really, other than this is pretty standard.
It's I don't know.
He's doing the mother's basement thing where he just
that's
explains
right.
explains the anime to you so you don't have to watch it basically.
Right. Right, big respect for Joe, pause and select as always. Shout out.
It's the Joe cocksucky now.
He did a review of Konosuba. Have you ever seen that review? I think he delisted it.
I might have watched it like a while ago, I think.
The fun thing about that review is that he never really says anything about what the show is about.
Right.
He doesn't explain the synopsis really, the plot, the characters even. He just kind of talks about.
He just kind of gets into it. Yeah.
He talks about the vibe. He talks more about the ED than the actual episodes, and that's kind of what I respect in a summary of an anime. Not that what happens, really. I mean, as I recall, the most that Joe says about the plot of Konosuba is, hey, Kazuma is offered to be a hero, but he rejects the call, the call to adventure.
Call to action, yeah.
He rejects the call to action, and the rest of the story is him lazing about. That's kind of the most of the plot synopsis that I can remember from that review, and the rest is about vibes, attitudes. What instincts do these characters exhibit, and what the vibe of the ED is, and that was his review.
Right.
And also, he's not.
This man's not doing that. This man's not doing that.
Just
basically,
going scene by scene, telling you what happens and how it happens and why.
And he's trying to do it in that very zoomery kind of, haha, funny, ironic way that's come to poison a lot of anime discussion lately. And I mean, I've talked about it before, so I don't have to repeat myself. But it's, well, let's see what he's got to say. Let's keep going. Maybe he gets better. We still got 9 minutes left. Let's see what he's got.
You'd expect. This is the annoying naive hero, and this is his friend that used to be a guy. Well, this could be an anime all by itself. I reincarnated as a hero's waifu, but I used to be his guy best friend. Yeah, no way that exists though. Right? The bully girl is a pet dragon, serves her right. The teacher is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's the ironic. Ha, I know it's bad. Ha, 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 ha. I know it's bad, Ellie. It's so bad. Did you know it's bad? Everyone agrees it's bad, right? Ha, ha.
Yeah, it's kind of
it's just that's all it really is. So let's keep going.
Holly Elf, and hero is, well, we all guessed it, a spider. We then see her spawn in a dungeon as she finds out that she's actually become a spider. And instead of freaking out like any normal teenage girl would, her reaction is...
No sense sweating it now.
Well, I guess she would.
Oh, a dub watcher. Ugh. Oh, well, he's 17, I can't.
Also, see, her reaction is of confusion and terror and, oh god, I have to leave right now. Later,
oh shit, I'm going to die.
Later it is, oh damn, I have to do something. And then it's like, alright, this is the reality. I have to deal with it.
Yeah. But anyway, let's keep going.
Wasn't human to begin with a reaction like that anyway. Now that she's accepted being a spider, we see her constantly fighting for her life, beating dragons and giant catfish, and the heroes that are supposed to beat the demon lord are just chilling in a nice ballroom having some of the best drinks that you could possibly think of. Then we're back to Kumoko.
Well, I mean, that does kind of happen, but there's like a whole separate plot.
Yeah,
with the
there's a
humans
big
characters.
intrigue, and they.
Oh, the systems at play, getting skills might be a problem. Don't get skills, right? The overprotective elf girl, right? Teacher wants to protect all the students.
Also, yeah, there are like political. They know
there's
know each
political
other.
stuff going on. Oh, there's a war. Oh, the demon lord is coming.
Yeah, but hey, I am prince of this person, of this kingdom, of this noble, and you're the prince of that noble, and we were classmates. But now I also have this responsibility of protecting the name of the family that I am now born into. So I can't just hang out with everybody all the time and be for my classmates. I have to do other stuff too.
Yeah, he's very oversimplifying what's going on with those sections, right? Because it's definitely not just ballroom fantasy high school shenanigans, right? There's some stuff going on. There's a little bit of that, but I feel like there's a bit more because a lot of it's set up, right?
A lot of it is all the hero stuff is almost completely set up. It's all kind of world building. Who are these characters? What are they doing? What are they going to do?
What is the world like? How do the systems operate? How are we going to do it, right? So, yeah, there's a little bit going on there. That this guy's missing, but yeah, let's keep going.
Struggling to find something to eat and has to eat the equivalence of a Popeyes biscuit without any liquid, and like anyone else, she almost dies. Fast forward a bit, and we find out.
Oh, it's a fast food chain in America.
It's
like a fried chicken place. Apparently, they're coming to NZ. There's one up in one in Auckland.
I'm pretty sure with that kind of name or whatever, it wouldn't come over here in the heart of Europe.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, it's owned by the same company that owns Burger King or something. I don't know. I read a news story about it, but because but it's apparently really popular in America. It's like a big deal. But he's talking about the biscuit. Apparently, a biscuit over there. It's like it's actually more like a cake, almost. It's like a fucking pastry. Yeah. It's like a. I don't know how to describe it because I've watched a video on how to make it before, like from a cooking channel, because they call it a biscuit, but it's not like dough. It's more, I don't know.
Popeyes 5.
Oh yeah, 665. No, he said Popeyes in the video. He said a Popeyes biscuit, right? And then KFC, over in America, KFC does those biscuits. Down here, they don't. So I don't have a point of reference for KFC's version, but I have heard that.
Even a biscuit isn't that dry though. Cake is most often like a little bit moist and has a lot of butter in there.
Yeah, I don't know. They're drier than KFC biscuits, according to Samu. So I don't know.
That was a question. Are they drier?
Are they dry? Oh, are they drier than KFC biscuits? Yeah.
Anyway, the cultural joke completely missed.
Yeah, culture clash. Yeah. fun culture. But anyway, let's keep going.
That while Kumoko was leveling up and almost dying multiple times, the heroes were actually either not born or still sucking on breast milk. Point proven when she finds this cute little vampire girl that turns out to be a former classmate of hers, who, just like Hiro, was kind of left out by everyone else in the class. She didn't really get bullied, but more teased about how she looked and her personality. Anyway, she found little Miss Drac and decided that she's her new favorite pet and decides to protect her. So she ends up living in the same kingdom on the outskirts of the village that the vampire's dad is the leader of.
He's also skipped like a lot of shit.
Yeah, like the entire escape of the caverns.
Yeah, like skipped the whole her figuring out how to defeat the big spider and the dragon and the powers that she gets from all of them.
Yeah, and the conversations with on a smartphone in this fantasy
he shows
world.
that, but he doesn't really talk about that and because it hints at like the world and how the world works, and there's like this
mysterious dragon guy dude.
Yeah, who's like maybe he's like he's like the representative of the god or whatever, and he's like trying to make sure everything's like not getting thrown out of whack or whatever. And I distinctly remember like they have a conversation in the tree or something, and he's like, "What the fuck did you do to the demon lord spider girl or whatever?" And she's like, "Wasn't my fault. I didn't do it deliberately." And he's like, "Oh, all right then." he's like, "Oh, okay." It's not your fault, okay? Or something like that. Again, I have to remember because I watched this like a couple of years ago.
Like,
so
trying
to remember, like I remember, like because I'm watching it and I'm watching the video and I'm like remembering things as they come back to me in my brain, right? So, but this is what I mean. Like, there's a lot of interesting stuff that could be talked about here, right? But he's focusing kind of on the bits that he wants to focus on, I guess. Or like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
because again, this
even on the hero side. I mean, it chronologically, this also kind of fails because he's skipping like over 90% of the whole Kumoko escaping the dungeons, the caves system.
And yeah, I guess you would think it's wasted potential if you skip over 90% of the fucking anime.
But also,
right?
As you watch it, as the episodes go by this point, you already see that some of the students are getting skills, which was, very much say, don't do that, fellow classmates, students of mine. Teacher says don't get skills. Some students do, some don't. Some are confused and are just living, don't care about anything
or this other shit. Yeah.
So there's a very on the human side, a bunch of stuff already happened by this point in the airing of the show. Chronologically, of course, not much of on the human side happened, but a lot of stuff for Kumoko happened. So he's not showing either of these two things.
Yeah, which is a problem. But yeah, let's
if he's going to,
speaking of the parents, how
summarize.
the hell?
Yeah. So he's about to talk about. He's about to have an actual criticism, I think. So let's see what he has to say. What does he have to say? Yeah.
The vampire's dad is the leader of. Speaking of the parents, how the hell did she come out a vampire? From what I know, both her parents are humans. Her dad's a human, her mom's a human. So how the hell did she come out a vampire? Did I miss something where Dracula decided to descend and just make her one of his kin? Or did something else happen?
You read the light novel. What did you do? You remember? So I don't fucking remember it all.
From what I don't know. It's been too long. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
I only can guess that either because she is special, she was born with an innate weird trait.
Yeah, because I know the teacher was born with the thing that let her track down the students, like the list thing of all the names, and it would tell her if they died or not and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's. I know, so it is possible that was what it was. It was like she got born a vampire because of fucking like that's just like the roll, the character creator dice roll or something happened, right?
Yeah, but I don't maybe she's not an exact vampire, but she just has the vampire ability
Dampier or something. Yeah, Dampier or something. But yeah, I don't remember, so I can't really combat his point here. And it's a kind of a really I find this to be quite common with Zuma critics, and I don't want to generalize too much, but it's just how it is, right? Where they like to hone in on these really, really hyper-specific, suspension of disbelief type things, right? Because this is one of those things where it's like, if you think about it too hard, right, and assuming that it isn't explained in the actual text itself, right? You think about it too hard, you're kind of like, oh yeah, how did she fucking become a vampire? That's kind of weird, right? Or whatever, but most people, that's like a 1 second thought and then it just disappears, right? Because you're enjoying the rest of the show, right? Even if you even have that thought to begin with, right? You might not even think about that, right? But it seems to be like a common thing a trend I've noticed, where people will just hone in on those like little tiny micro things that typically, like, there might be an interesting kind of thing there, right? But at the same time, is it really that big of a detail, Ellie?
No,
Is it really a massive thing?
No, it's just I just think it's just like the teacher got a skill. Her skill is vampire, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's like the most logical sort. Like, if you know about the series, that's like the most logical conclusion to draw. But anyhow, let's continue.
I'm lost. But like I was saying, she ends up spending a majority of her time in the kingdom that they were in. And then she accidentally started a war with
or is it in the dungeons beneath the ground between continents?
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's like he skipped like the whole first half of the show. He just skips the entire first half of the show and talks about this. But anyway, let's keep going.
Neighboring nation, even though they were pretty much just waiting to start one, she just kind of helped. And after a while, she ends up meeting the Demon Lord, and those two go back and forth trying to kill each other constantly. But it was more like Kumoko was just running away from her like the spider you find in your room. And like said spider...
Alright, we're breaking our pause promise, whatever.
It's too late, yeah.
It's too late.
Already broken it, yeah. But
what is this synopsis? For who is this synopsis? How does it...
What is the point? Because this whole thesis statement is that it's wasted potential, but he hasn't really like explained how, right? Like, he's just talked about how this happened, and this happened, and then this happened, right? And I'm just kind of like, I know this happened, I watched it.
If I didn't know this show, right, Naretsu, I suddenly learned there's a vampire, there are two nations at war, and she did already wanted to kill each other, and she was involved but kind of helped. She was on the edge of a village, and then she started a war, and then she fought the demon lord, but then she kind of mostly ran away. Also, she met a vampire. What happened to the vampire baby while she's running from the demon lord? How is that going?
Yeah. Like, I see. I'm remembering high school, man. It's ironic because 17-year-old, but I'm having flashbacks to English class, right? Where the teacher would be talking about how you really want to avoid and then statements, right? And then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, right? And you want to kind of be like, okay, this happened because of this, which is because of that, right? You don't want to be constantly relying on, and then, right? And I feel like that applies to this video where he's relying way too much on, well, this happened, and then that happened, and then this happened, and then that happened. But he's not really explaining, okay, well, why? Why did these things happen?
If I were to, make this a video on the wasted potential of Spider, I would, in the great teachings of Pause and Select, wouldn't really want to bog myself down in explaining every single episode, or skipping 90% of the episodes and just going scene by scene. I would say something like, Kumoko is a series where somebody got reincarnated as a spider, and from there on it's a constant quest of survival and just consuming, gaining, growing constantly at the expense of almost everybody else. Everybody else is going to either die or get eaten for Kumoko to grow as the strongest being in her hostile environment. And when she gets out, she is then switching up her attitude. And I would go a little bit like that, and I would say something like, and when she switches her approach, there's a tension being lost, and then I go into that lost potential of blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But
there's also like a completely different angle you could go with this as well, where you're, instead of talking about like wasted potential story-wise, like what about the CG, right? Because CG is used quite heavily. We've seen it a few times within the show, and I would argue that the CG is not that great. It's definitely not the best CG that I've ever seen in my life. It you know, it's passable, I guess, you know, but it's not. It's definitely not integrated very well into the world, right? It feels like it sticks out, right? And you could make an argument about, well, this scene would have had more impact had it been animated in 2D instead of 3D, right? So there's like multiple angles that you could really take with this, but you might not even have to consider the story side of it at all, really, right? But that's yeah.
Yeah, but it's more of I don't. We've said it often enough, mostly when Mother Spaceman's videos are on that. Just explaining the show episode by episode isn't good, and neither is skipping an entire arc of a series.
Yeah. If you're gonna be doing doing this, right? If you're gonna be doing the synopsis thing, then you should yeah.
You should do it.
Yeah, I was alt tabs. Yeah, if you're gonna commit to the synopsis, you should commit to the synopsis. But yeah, let's keep going.
Nothing ever goes well when you can't see it. But eventually, the Demon Lord manages to actually kill our dear spider. Rest in peace, Kumoko, and I'm sorry for your loss, Aussies. Psych, she reincarnated, but this time as the number 3 on my waifu list, cause god damn!
I fucking hate irony.
I don't,
hate irony.
You know...
I fucking hate irony. I fucking hate irony! I fucking hate it!
I don't feel this emotion, Matsu. Going back to the Drake Hendricks Twitter rap battle, if this is Drake saying, "Oh damn, she has tits," I don't feel that. If Hendrick goes,
that's what I mean. It's not real.
It's not real.
It's not real. He's not real. This is why I say it's irony, right? This is why I say it's not irony. I mean, she's fine. Yeah, this is the thing, Sammy. This is what I'm getting at, right? She is fine, and I would just say, yeah, it's a good design. It looks good. I like the design. It's cool, right? I mean, if you've ever played Dark Souls, right? You know, the spider ladies in Dark Souls, right?
Was it in Oblivion?
Also? Yeah, they're cool. I like that design. I do actually quite like that design. You know, one of my Monster Musume, right? Monster Musume character is the spider. I like the spider. But like, this is the thing, right? It's I have a genuine like of it. This guy doesn't. He's doing it to make a joke. He's using it for irony, right? And I'm just like, I hate it. Fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. Because I can guarantee you in another breath, right, he might say something like, man, fan service ruins all these anime. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like that's coming, right? But to kind of go back to like the whole like reincarnation thing, I don't recall if it was like a reincarnation.
It was. She has this multiple personalities thing.
Yeah, she has like multiple like. She has like abilities that allow her to like jump around and do.
Yeah, so she just saved one. She just laid some eggs, or either she just has eggs, and then she just put one of the personalities in one of the eggs in case she dies with. And then only a personality is lost. A copy of her mind is lost, not her soul or whatever. Or even if they got souls, that's a question, I guess.
Any of that, yeah.
But anyway, there is...
I mean, maybe we could have a deep philosophical... It's almost like the Star Trek replicator debates.
Yeah.
Right?
But anyway,
like,
the thing is...
Because the replicator basically kills you and then it disintegrates you into particles and then reconstructs those particles somewhere else, and you can have an argument about, okay, is that actually killing you technically? Because it technically would kill you, right, to be disintegrated into particles and then reconstructed. Where does the soul actually fit into that, right?
Yeah, but that's not
there's
what
an interesting
philosophy.
Yeah, it's a bit too big for this video, but there is an interesting thing that you could talk about there. But I don't think our boy here, who's going after the spider titties, right? The spider milk.
Spider milkers. Oh no. No,
that's an EFAP reference. I wonder if anyone in the chat will remember the
Nah, not
spider
me.
milk, the spider milk, the rhino milk, and the spider milk.
Nah,
But
the
anyway.
thing is, going back to the actual show, the actual series, is that she just put her personality in a physical body in case her first physical body dies, and that's what happens. So she still got a physical body, and I don't think she actually. In a practical sense, I don't think she actually dies because all her personalities were linked. So every bit of info
she didn't lose anything technically.
No.
So So anyway, let's keep going.
Arachnophobia? No, we got arachnophilia.
That too.
okay, hang on. Just gotta breathe. Just gotta. Oh, I hate this shit so much.
Am I right? That was a joke. I promise I'm not attracted to legs. All of this happened before.
Hey, what the fuck? Hey, Pfizer juicing me, okay? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. What do you mean you're not attracted to legs? You fucking weak. Alright, anyway.
For the war with the demons and the elves. And that's the next time we see her. But this time she doesn't have the legs. Or actually, she only has 2 of them. And we find out that she's actually allied with the Demon Lord now. But that's basically everything that happened.
Is that everything that happened?
What the fuck? What the fuck do you mean? You're just gonna skip over? He's just gonna skip over the whole, like, one of her personalities goes inside the Demon Lord and basically mind rapes the Demon Lord into becoming a copy of her. We're just gonna ignore that.
Merge personalities, and therefore she's like
merge the personalities. And like he's skipping so much shit. he's ignoring so much shit.
Samu, have you ever watched Spider? This is a good question for you.
Yeah, because if you hadn't have watched Spider, like that shit, it's gonna sound wild, right? You're gonna have no fucking Yeah, it is cool. Like it actually is really interesting what happens, right? Because it's I mean, we're already in spoiler territory anyway, and you're gonna get spoiled regardless. But basically, she has a fight with the big spider that birthed her, right? And the big spider that birthed her is a different spider to the Demon Lord, who is like a different spider, right? And when she fights the bigger spider, she implants one of her personalities in the big spider, right? To kind of make sure it dies. I don't remember the full context, right?
I know
she does that.
So I can maybe explain, right?
Yeah, you explain it better.
So Kumoko is small spider. Her mother is a huge spider, and the huge spider is an underling born from the Demon Lord. So there's a kind of a direct connection between the Demon Lord, huge mother spider, and Kumoko. Kumoko senses that mother spider still exerts control over her through the mental link that they have. So Kumoko doesn't want that. She wants that mental link gone. So she sends some personalities to attack mother spider directly. There, she discovers that because she's doing that, the Demon Lord is after her because she's kind of killing one of the Demon Lord's underlings. To not get killed by the Demon Lord, she then goes. She then leaves the mother spider, kinda, from what I remember. This kind of vague. But then she goes attacking the mind of the Demon Lord instead. That kinda works. But because that kind of works, but instead of taking over her mind, one of her personalities joins up with the Demon Lord's personality. So now she's not Kumoko entirely, but she's very sympathetic to her views and understanding and etc.
Basically, like pseudo brainwashing almost.
It's more like it's
complicated.
We're now brothers. We're now sisters now, right?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
And
it's very interesting. Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's very interesting stuff. And if you actually watch the show, it's done in a very like interesting way, right? So so she's still the spider. It's kind of like soul hopping, but it's like because the personalities, the skill that she gets early on is like free brains, where she gets like free distinct personality. It's like
thoughts, parallel things.
Schizophrenia is a skill.
She gets
because that's basically what it is. Parallel thinking, but it's basically what it is. It's like she has like oh, this is the mage brain that handles all the magic. This is the physical brain that handles all the physical
body
stuff. This is the smart calculation brain that does, and these all brains are like independent of each other, right? They're all separate personalities that are all the same spider, but they're all like independently working together, right? And so essentially what happens is one of those ends up inside the brain of the Demon Lord and starts like slowly eroding the Demon Lord's brain and rewriting it in a sense. It kind of like that, right? And it's again, the point is it's interesting stuff that this guy is just completely glossing over, right? So I don't quite know why he's glossing over that, because that's one of the more interesting like things that happens in the show outside of the stuff with the elves later on and the big reveals near the end of it. So it's kind of interesting stuff. But let's see, because maybe he's going to actually make a point now, so we'll get to see why he thinks it's wasted potential. Maybe we'll be able to.
We got synopsis is over.
Synopsis is over, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully.
We had to give like 10 minutes extra synopsis, but...
Yeah, because he didn't do a good enough job, yeah. But anyway, let's keep going.
I know I probably messed up the order of certain things that went down, but this anime is structured a bit weird, so putting everything together...
Bad pause. Alright.
So
remember what he said.
You're doing it now?
Yeah, but I remember this, right? Remember what he said. He's probably getting the order wrong.
Yeah.
Remember that statement.
Okay.
Accurately was pretty much impossible. Now, apart from the absolutely horrendous animation and CGI that So Much Better So What has, everything else about the series is actually pretty good. I've rewatched it so many times that I basically know the entire script by heart.
Alright, pause
even
again.
Before I knew...
He rewatched so many times he knows the script by heart.
Yeah, but it's so difficult to explain. It's so difficult to explain, but I've rewatched it like 5 times. And if it's such wasted potential and so bad, why did you rewatch it like 5 times? Like that's a big commitment.
One of those things isn't true. Either he rewatched like 5 times, or he doesn't know what order things are happening.
Yeah, there's a contradiction there. There's a bit of a I don't know about that one, Chief, but yeah, let's keep going.
Anything about the line, I still felt like the series had good potential. Even with Kumoko hard carrying the series, which we'll get into later. Apart from Kumoko, the world building was well done and the antagonistic side characters felt more interesting and had more depth.
The world building is well done.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
I don't think that's a... I don't think... Is that what you wanted to say? Doesn't really feel like it.
I don't know. I'm kind of lost here at this point. I'm kind of lost because I don't know where's the wasted potential coming in, because now he's just praising the show. So I'm kind of like, what? I want him to get to the point, right? Get to the point, please. Like what part of it makes it wasted potential?
Depth than the main heroes party, even though we didn't get to see them much in the anime, except for a couple of scenes. Now, I'm not sure if that's...
Couple of it was I don't know, I felt like it was pretty 50-50. Like you'd get a good amount of time with both Kumiko and the heroes party, right? You got
did I mention
I don't think
yeah, it's in the web novel from what I read.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it was less than you actually got more in the anime technically, right?
Yeah, I think. But this was this on stream, or did we talk about it like 2 minutes before stream?
We probably talked about it in text chat during the long dark or something.
No. I mentioned that I read
you mentioned that it was side chapters in the light novel.
Yeah, it's side chapters in the web novel, and then there was... I didn't read anything, any of the adaptation into the light novel, and I haven't... I only really know the manga up to a certain point and the anime up to a certain point. But what I read, it's as the web novel very much was different from the anime and the manga. So it's not that reliable after Kumiko escapes from the caves. my knowledge of Kumoko
It drops off. Yeah.
it is completely different, right?
Right.
But even still, the hero story in the web novels were side chapters, side adventures, side things.
Yeah. Well, being an anime only secondary,
Oh, but
I
listen,
felt
maybe
like
maybe you want to know that in the web novel, one of the reincarnatees reincarnates as a goblin.
that's great. But my point is, like, being an anime only secondary for a minute, right? I felt like in the anime both plot lines kind of got equal share of the runtime. I didn't feel like, I mean, obviously Kimiko is the focus, right? She is the fucking spider, right? Obviously she gets the focal point, but I did feel like, you still got, a good sense of progression. It didn't feel like it was particularly rushed. So I don't know where he's kind of coming from with that. It feels kind of like, again, man watched the show 5 times apparently. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here.
It's how they intended it to be, but either way, I liked it that way. And despite Kumoko's...
Oh, but he liked it, so it wasn't even negative. So again, what's the problem? I don't know what the problem
I
is.
didn't have spoilers for the end of the video. I thought the balance was pretty good. It was different from the manga because from what in the manga, the humans are not really mentioned at all until way later in the manga timeline wise. A little bit later, maybe even than what happened in the web novel.
Right.
In the anime, it's come immediately side by side, and in our great hiatus, I believe I mentioned that I thought it was interesting that I included the human side earlier. But I liked it,
and I think it was sort of the benefit of the adaptation as well.
Yeah, because the manga is also an adaptation, so I can't say, oh, they did it wrong because in the manga, blah blah blah. There is a little bit more of a payoff and a little bit more of an opportunity to get to discover that the stories aren't happening at the same time.
And you get to kind of see like the cause and effect almost, like her actions in the past, right? The past timeline, quote unquote, affects things that happen in the future timeline, right? Or in the future, and you get to kind of see like she does. I'm trying to remember. There was I think it was one of the things with the dragon or something. Like she does something with a monster, and then that monster shows up later in the timeline, right? And then so there's like stuff that she does kind of reverberates, and you get to see that when you go from timelines, right?
So the thing in the anime is, right, so they say don't watch out for that cavern over there. There are white spiders over there, and then you go, hey, those look just like Kumoko, but that isn't Kumoko because they are empty shells, right? They're
right.
It was even something like a mental projection of a spider in the cavern that was super duper dangerous. Those wait a second, Kumoko is in that cave right now, and those aren't there.
Yeah.
So how do they coexist? And the answer is they don't coexist.
Yeah, because they're different points in time.
They're probably one of those spider eggs that hatched without a mind, right?
Yeah.
A body without a mind. That is one of those spiders. Because Kumoko reincarnated as an arachnia, a female body on a spider. The rest of those eggs are probably normal spiders, but Kumoko spiders without a intelligent mind behind them. And thus they have to they have to be after Kumoko left and got a body and left again. So
right.
And that's what you can discover.
It's like I said, there's interesting stuff going on that this guy's just not he's just not talking about.
Yeah.
But anyhow, let's keep going.
Spending most of her time in the dungeon, I never felt bored of seeing those scenes of her trying to survive in it. We had been given an extensive number of new monsters, and the different layers to the dungeon gave us a new environment that always felt fresh no matter how many times I saw it. And yes, you do have other isekais that have tried similar things, but Soma Spider So What is actually one of the better representations I've seen of doing something like this. The only other exception being Arifureta, and even then, I still feel like Soma Spider So What did it better. Hajime didn't have many changes when it came to his environment in the dungeon. In fact, most times it was nearly impossible to tell which floor he was on or when he crossed a new one. And as we can see from Soma Spider So What, that definitely isn't the case with Kumoko. Even when she left the dungeon, I was still interested in the politics of the different nations and how everything else had an effect on Kumoko's journey. From protecting a little vampire on a whim to fighting against her mother and the Demon Lord, all these interactions played a...
He's skipping a lot, like, oh, she's fought her mother? Also...
But he's not saying a lot either, which is why I haven't paused, right? Because he's not, like, there's no point here. He's not making a salient point here. He's just saying, yeah, cool stuff happened. And it's like, yeah. yeah. we know.
Also, Aforeta came out was first written in 2012. Spider was first written in 2015. Spider came after stuff like Slime, like Aforeta, like a bunch of stuff. Spider is one of the newer isekais, so you can't say Spider inspired a lot, fortunately, because Spider was kind of one of the later ones.
Alright, let's keep going.
Huge role in her journey and who she becomes at the end of the series, even though you wouldn't know that from just watching the anime. Which brings me to my next point. I feel like this series was kinda suffocated. Not only did the anime not have the best adaptation, but neither did the manga. In fact...
Oh, look at that, he is criticizing the manga.
Oh no. But the manga is good though. I don't know what is his
the anime
complaint?
and the manga is good. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, again, he hasn't explained his reasoning, right? Like, because if he had said something like, okay, the adaptation felt rushed, right?
I felt it was a little bit rushed, a little bit cheap.
Yeah, whether or not I agree or disagree with that, at least he's making an actual point, right? At least because that's something you can actually debate, right? You can debate whether or not it was rushed, or whether or not the CG was good or bad, or whether or not, like, the timeline thing was good or helped the show or stuff. You know, those are all points that we can have a discussion about, right? But we can't really have a discussion about, here's what happened in the show. I thought it was cool, but I also think it was bad. Anyway, the manga was also bad, right? Like, we can't...
Well, yeah,
there's no dialogue here. You can't actually have a dialogue about this, right? And that's the problem.
There's no... He hasn't... Yeah, what is his wasted potential in the anime? I don't know. He hasn't said...
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that, right? I'm still waiting for the thesis, right? What is the actual thesis here? Because I haven't... Yeah, he hasn't really done it.
It's actually worse considering that the anime is currently ahead of the manga. Imagine that. Who would have thought the day that anime watchers could actually spoil stuff for manga readers? When it's normal...
That always happens when stuff is added.
My man. Light novels exist, my man. My man. Oh, God. All right.
Normally the other way around would come. The only piece of media that actually does the series any justice is the original.
Oh, well, he does. Look at that. Okay. The
At
web novel
least he
is
knows.
good, right? At least he knows. Yeah, that's good.
Wait, now I'm kind of get confused because an adaptation. How do this feels like a little bit inane in that. If you're going to say that the only thing that the series does justice is the original text, by that metric, no adaptation ever can do a series justice.
Alright, well, let's see what he has to say.
Light novel. Before I heard about the light novel, I already felt like the series could have done a lot better. I thought it was...
Okay, but how? How? Okay, maybe I paused too soon. Let's listen.
Only the animation, but it turns out I was wrong. Everything that I just explained is so much better in the light novel that it's not even worth comparing it to anything else. Specifically, the interaction she has. For example, the heroes. I know for a
okay, holy shit, he's actually gonna have a point. Finally.
It's kind of a boring point, right? Oh, the anime.
Yeah, but at least it's a point. I'm
It
gonna
is a
take what I
point,
can
damn.
get. I'm gonna take what I can fucking get at this point, right? Like, holy shit. So, okay, so he reckons the interactions between the characters were better in the light novel, and he's about
You
to
mean that
give us some
the
examples.
light novel that is about that does the medium that is most suited for dialogue and exposition
Yeah,
does dialogue
yeah.
and exposition right.
But let's see. He's gonna give us an example, right? So let's see what the example is we're gonna chew on.
In fact, I'm not the only one who skipped all of the scenes that the heroes were in after watching it for the first time.
Wait, whoa, whoa, dog. Wait a minute.
I like those scenes.
Wait a minute.
I thought they were interesting.
Wait a fucking minute. So hang on. I thought he was gonna give us an example, but then he's just like, nah, I just skipped all that shit on the second watch.
No wonder he doesn't know what
Yeah, no
happens
wonder
when...
he doesn't remember any of it, and he doesn't talk about any of it. He's like, yeah, I watched it once, and then I only watched the spider sections, right? What the fuck? My man, come on, man. Like, because if you're actually going to critique it, right? Like, because if his point is, yes, the light novel did these character interactions better, right? You do actually have to fucking watch them, right?
Yeah.
And maybe rewatch them so that you can understand, like, the differences and compare and contrast, right? He's self-admitting, like, oh yeah, I was reading, like, the Lord of the Rings, but all that stuff in the middle was boring or whatever, so I'm just gonna
the conference, whatever, when they discuss
the conference, that was boring. I just want to get to the action, so I'm gonna skip right to the war, right, or whatever. Like, that sounds like what he's doing right now. It's like, oh man, it's so boring. But yeah, anyway, let's keep going.
And if you say that you did, I don't believe you, because there's just absolutely no way you could sit through 8 minutes of this.
Would never have run in a situation like this. So I won't. I'll honor his memory by not giving up.
Every single.
Maybe this is a dub watcher problem. Maybe it's because he was watching the dub. Because the Japanese, I thought it was fine in Japanese. I didn't have any real problems dealing with it in the Japanese. Maybe this is like a dub watcher problem. Maybe it's because he's watching dub.
Right. This is it's been too long, and from what I remember, this is a scene where his brother dies, right? His older brother dies or something.
Oh no. No, what happened was that's like end of the show.
All right.
Like so the brother dies, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
And he gets the phoenix feather from the guy, and he has this chip on his shoulder about the brother dying, right? Through the rest of the show. And then at the final battle in the elf village, right? So they're doing the big final battle, and the demon forces, right? The people on the demon side are basically telling him, look, you should retreat now, or we're gonna kill you all, right? You need to fucking get the fuck out. We don't actually want to kill you, because they're all reincarnation people, right? They're all from the same fucking class, right? And so they're like, look, we don't actually want to kill you, but if you get in our way, we're going to kill you. And he's doing the whole
hero speech,
big heroic. Nah, my brother wouldn't back down, so I'm not gonna back down. I'm gonna be just like my big bro, right? And he's doing that, and I will give him, like, in the dub, the VA does not do a very good job, but I wonder if we could find that scene with the Japanese VA.
Nah, not on the moment, unless you go out.
Yeah, you would have to. I'm not going to, but like, I wonder if, like, because I would have loved to compare and contrast, because to me, like, I'm listening to the dub, and the dub doesn't have that same inflection. I'm vaguely remembering the scene in my head from when I watched it, and I think that the Japanese was a lot more emotive.
But also,
inflection.
This is what I forgot. It wasn't about the brother, but kind of it is. But the interesting thing, right, is that the villains, the Demon Lord, are doing this for a purpose. They believe they are doing something right. And our hero character, our avenging our brother, protecting the people, hero character is saying heroic stuff, but the other side are doing it for a reason we don't know. So the hero speech is kind of cliche and flat.
And that's kind of the point.
That is the point.
It's kind of the point,
So we were having to balance our understanding of that this is a good character with good motivations, and we have to balance it towards, all right, but these people are doing something actively evil for a reason, and they are not vindictive about it. So what are we going to do?
It's almost like the show is very interesting, Ali.
So we're going to weigh morals and weigh values and weigh our understanding of good and evil in these scenes. And if you just saying, oh, we're going to skip all the boring good stuff, but then you just leave some you have no counterbalance against this objectively evil but weirdly motivated, apathetic motivated side.
There's a lot of interesting stuff going on, basically, and I think that he's lost a lot of that in his skipping of those sections with Prince and the set, because again, it's all set up for that moment, right? It's all set up for that moment
for the battle between the conventional good guys and the conventional bad guys.
But and it's not actually conventional good versus conventional bad, and that's the point.
And there's something I haven't watched far enough or read far enough to know how this is going to be flipped around. But you you feel that tension, right? You know that something is going on, but you don't know what.
Yeah, and I think the anime kind of ends with the thread open for that.
Very much. I remember that I actually watched it today. I thought I skipped it, dropped it like halfway through, but apparently I did watch this last episode.
Maybe. But it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like he's doing the anime a disservice right now, and I don't know what it is, because like maybe it's the dub thing and the translation plus the acting doesn't convey the emotions properly, which I know is kind of a bit of a dub versus sub sort of like, haha, Naretsu shitting on the dubs once again, right? But
yeah, totally.
But
Very much so.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm gonna do that anyway because fuck dubs. But I'm serious though, right? Because if he's watching the dub, right, and he's getting a completely different experience to us sub watchers, that's a fucking problem, right? Because it's not necessarily meant to be a completely different experience, right? Those scenes are not necessarily meant to be boring, and they're not really boring in Japanese. So I don't quite know I don't know what's necessarily going on here, right? Whether or not it's the dub, whether or not it's him just not resonating with it. Maybe there's like he's a zoomie and he just has to have action in his face every 5 seconds, otherwise it's boring.
Well, he
right?
apparently likes the light novel, so he can read.
Yeah, he likes the light novel, so he can read. So maybe there's something else going on there, right? Like, again, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but there's definitely something weird going on here. So let's keep going. Let's see what he has to say.
Episode. In the anime, they're portrayed as a bunch of naive kids who are annoying and get led around by the people around them, while following behind Shun, who's the most naive out of all of them. And I mean, come on, do I even have to talk about the fight animations?
And he's also jumping between things as well. He's like, oh, I'm going to talk about they're all naive. Oh yeah, of course they're fucking kids.
Also, all the stuff, but when they're naive, being naive and talking to each other is a completely different scene from them fighting each other. They're not related at all.
Yeah. Like it's like I just said, he's like jumping between things. Like he's 1 minute he's talking about the characters, and now he's going to talk about the fight CG animation. And it's like, yeah, I can agree the CG is not great. It's definitely a problem. I would criticize the CG quite heavily.
But there's nothing to do with their character motivations or the
it has nothing to do with the character motivation.
Yeah, their interactions.
It's a completely different criticism, right? It's completely different. But let's see what he has to say about the animation then.
And in the manga, the human parts don't even exist.
Well, they do exist, but they come way
They do exist.
Later.
It's just not as big of a thing, yeah. As you mentioned, it's side stuff mostly, yeah. So
There is almost no content on the heroes whatsoever, like they just straight up don't exist. When you compare that to the light novel where the heroes are portrayed naive and annoying in the beginning, over a period of time they start to seem more understandable and we understand why they think and act the way they do. Oh, and we get to see some interesting development between Mr. Hero and his best friend. If you know, you know.
Okay.
But I haven't read the light novels. The manga never really got to the humans interacting with each other. I got from the anime that these characters have to deal with their noble lineages and their supposed rivalries when they actually know each other all for a while. That is it. He can't criticize the stuff of the hero side when he hasn't watched them. When he apparently skips them, he has skipped them 4 times.
Well, he watches it once and he skips it 4 times. Yeah, oh boy.
They stopped just a bunch of kids who were playing hero, and we started to see that they were just a little ignorant, and once they realized the truth of the world, they mature a bit and started to make the right choices. Well, at least correct from a moral point of view. And if we're talking about Miss Kumoko...
Yeah, but as you just said, Elliot, like, who defines what's correct? Because the villains think they're correct from the moral point of view. Who defines what is correct from the moral point of view in this situation, right? Again, it's the people doing bad things for good reasons, or the people doing good things for good reasons, right?
Like there's good things for bad reasons.
There's an interesting, there's an interesting question to be had there, right? That I feel like he's just kind of glossing over, right, a little bit. But anyhow, also, we're almost done actually. I'll leave.
This is only legible for what he's saying, right? It's only legible for people who know the series still.
Yeah.
This is completely opaque for anybody who doesn't know anything about the series. And he's already being a little bit. He's being a little bit vague, and I assume there's some reason why they have to kill a bunch of people. Maybe, too much mana lost, concentrated. I don't know.
I don't quite remember what's going on, but
the thing is, right? He's alluding to some truth of the world. Fine, but then he kind of talks like you should know it. He's not talking about some spurily avoiding. There is something going on, but you don't have to know. He's
making a video for. This was a common criticism we've had in Mother's Basement as well. Like, he's making a video for people that have already watched the show and just want to have their opinions validated, which is a common problem. Like, we haven't encountered it on these videos for a while, but maybe it's just because of the types of videos we've been covering.
Yeah, we need to watch more Mother's Basement things.
No, but a common problem with AniTube content in general, right, that I've had over the years is a lot of this kind of reviewer content used to be very focused around people just validating common consensus opinions, right, about shows, or having an opinion on a show and constructing the video in such a way that it's not necessarily made to make the point, but for other people that have watched the show and might have come to the same conclusions, right, to have their opinions validated about it, right? And, I mean, yeah, that gives you some dopamine, I guess, but it doesn't... I don't think it leads to... This video hasn't led to really a lot of interesting dialogue. Most of it has just been us having to do his job for him and explaining things, right? And talking about what actually happens in the show and such. So... Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. But we're almost done. We've got like 2 minutes left, so let's see how he caps it off.
Or Shiro, from what we're shown in the anime and manga, her main goal is survival and being able to enjoy the life that she got. But that's way more obvious and represented better in the light novel. We're meant to think that she's actually the good guy in the series and completely support her, and while you could tell that it's not completely true, it's insane how different it is shown in the light novel. Then
can we have an example of that? Can we maybe give us a passage?
If he's going to say that the exposition is better in a book, if character writing and interaction and dialogue is better in the light novel in a book, I'm not going to be impressed.
No, I'm not either, because that's, again, it's the medium, right? Different mediums require
the only thing you can
different
if you want to
considerations.
impress me with a good in that way, you have to tell me, oh, Bakemonogatari is so good you don't mind it being a book you're being read a book or whatever.
Yeah. Alright, let's keep going.
Again, we haven't gotten that far in the anime anyway, so that's probably also a factor. While Shira's actions aren't always morally correct, when you look at them logically, they always make sense and are hard to argue with. We also get to see a more caring side to Kumoko that otherwise we wouldn't get to see. I don't really know if I'd call it caring, or more so a teacher-like side to her when dealing with certain characters. Again, this is mostly because we haven't gotten a second season or any form of continuation of the series, but I still feel like it wouldn't have been shown the same since it's a common problem in the adaptation. But what I'm basically saying is that we get a closer look at what she's really like rather than just the surface goal of wanting to survive. Soma Spider So What could easily be one of the best isekais out there if we don't look at the anime and manga. It's one of my favorite isekais and has my second.
Very weird. I'm doing a U now. I'm just calling it weird, right? It's a very odd thing to be like, this is one of my favorite isekais or whatever, right? And then to just be like, all right, now I'm gonna shit on it. Right? I'm gonna shit on it for like 10 minutes. Yeah, I don't know.
Second favorite isekai character behind Rimuru, and it may just.
Oh no, he's a slime fan.
Oh no, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
Be me, but I feel something similar in Rimuru and Shiro, which is probably the reason why I like her so much. It may be the fact that their stories are so similar, or the simple fact that they both have very similar mindsets and goals. But whatever it is, I can't really put my finger on it. When I first started getting into manga, it was one of the first.
You put your finger on two things. You can't say you can't. You put your finger on it.
Yeah. Oh boy.
You said the stories are right. I'm going to.
Yeah,
you said the stories are similar and their characters and motivations are similar. I can't put my. You said the two things that are similar in the story. You put your finger on the things that are similar. You put your finger on.
He put his finger on it, and then he took it right off again.
They're both stories about gaining a lot of skills, gaining more abilities, getting stronger on a logarithmic scale, going from 10 to 100 to 1,000.
Yeah, power scaling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a series about small beginning, small, and at the end getting a god tier level, rewriting the rules of the universe. It's not about necessarily the fights that are happening. It's about in the beginning the survival, and at the end the sheer amount of momentum and mass and just unstoppable force that these characters have. And like Slime, from what it also likes to shift perspective a little bit to other people who are then have to fight this impossible force in the shape of Shiro, in the shape of Rimuru, and it's fun seeing those characters. Oh no, I thought Rimuru was just a slime / or spider. I can't defeat him, and then I'm defeated.
And then how the world reacts.
Oh goddamn, that character that was super strong, that he could thought he should be able to fight a simple spider, but he's defeated by that simple spider. Oh no, what are we going to do about that spider? Everybody panic now. Those are all similar things to each other. The only thing Spider is missing is that there is no colonizing of a village over there.
Yeah. Again, it's weird. This video is missed potential because there's stuff to. Again, it's like I've said, there's stuff to talk about, but
there's so much.
There's nothing here.
The most interesting thing the most interesting thing of Spider is the thing that the show really, or the series, I should say, really focuses on, and it is this idea of bad people doing apparently the better thing than the heroes with their hero speeches that are fighting apparently for the evil thing. And it's about
Alright, well,
that conflict, from what I gather.
Let's cap it off because we're about to be finished.
I ended up going into a whole Reddit rabbit hole and found out that
Oh no, he went to. That explains a lot. He goes into Reddit. All right, let me go. I got to do a little, because I want to hear his thing here. Because I think there's something interesting to talk about here.
really put my finger on it. When I first started getting into manga, it was one of the first ones I looked for, and I ended up going into a whole Reddit rabbit hole and found out that that definitely wasn't the play. I really do.
So, because again, 17-year-old, right? Gets into anime and manga, gets into Spider, likes Spider, goes on to Reddit, sees a whole bunch of random ass Redditor opinions about it and how it's worse than the light novel, and then just buys into all of that bullshit. Just buys into all of that bullshit and formulates his opinions based on Reddit. Oh no. I mean, maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's not like that. Maybe the Reddit opinions made him go and read the light novel, and then he formed his opinion that way. But I don't know. I don't know, fam.
If
like,
if you watch Ring of Powers and you think, oh, the Ring of Powers is fine, actually, that's completely fine, right? If you like the what is it, the Amazon adaptation,
Amazon
original
thing,
stuff.
Yeah,
completely fine. Let all those angry nerds with their stupid lore accurate. Oh no, they used the wrong color on the dress. In the books, in chapter whatever, it's just one mention that the people of whatever prefer to color blue, not the color marine. That's completely wrong. Don't care. I don't care. If Rings of Power, I haven't watched it because I'm not interested in Lord of the Rings in general.
I don't care. Yeah.
if the Rings of Power is good on their own, good for them, right?
Reddit is a mistake. Yeah, pretty much. Listening to the opinions of Reddit is definitely a mistake. But anyhow.
This is I just wanted to I'm brought up like something like Rings of Power because this isn't really limited to any anime or manga or whatever.
No, it's not. And it's like I mentioned, right? The whole videos like this either exist to either validate people's preconceived opinions or for people to form their opinions around, right? In a sense. So I'm kind of like sitting here just like, all right, because I don't agree, whatever. But anyway, almost done, a little bit longer.
Hope there will be a rework of the first season, or at least
never.
Oh, God.
Why
oh,
you
God,
even?
I don't know if you've seen this, but there's been this like, especially with the Spice and Wolf happening, right? There's been this like, heaps of people are like, man, we need to give remakes to all of these anime. All these anime need remakes, Ellie. All of them, they need to get the Brotherhood treatment. Brotherhood needs to get the Brotherhood treatment, Ellie. Right? There's been a lot of that going around, and I'm just sitting here like, oh, God. No, it doesn't. Like, Spider's not even that fucking old. And even if it was that fucking old, right? Like, even if it was an older series, right? Something getting a remake isn't always a good thing, right? We've seen that with Berserk 2016, right? CG, not great, right? I don't think you'd argue that is a great adaptation of Berserk, right? I don't think anyone would agree that was good, right? So I'm a bit more cautious about this whole like, oh, everything needs to get a remake because it wasn't good enough the first time. It's like, no, like, to use the Spice and Wolf example, there have been a lot of people criticizing the new Spice and Wolf because they prefer the old style or whatever, and that's one thing, right? But the old Spice and Wolf is still there, right? The old Spice, you can go watch the old Spice and Wolf, right? And it's still just the same good that it was back then, right? And you can have your criticisms of the new one and compare and contrast or whatever, right? But this idea that, oh, it needs a remake because the old version is bad is what I have a problem with, right? There's something wrong. It's too old, Ellie, right? It's too old.
All right,
it needs to be remade.
This is surprisingly related to the Rings of Power that I mentioned. I read today that the Lord of the Rings movies are being remade.
Oh yeah, there was something about that. No, I didn't think it was remakes. I thought it was like, and there's a new one coming in like 2026 or something.
Yeah,
Like they're
and
working on a new
the
one.
the interesting thing, more than more Lord of the Rings. I thought it was something of a remake, but maybe not.
I don't
Anyway,
know. I just saw a tweet. I saw a tweet, but I mean, I don't really care a whole lot about
no, but
whatever's going on with
the
that.
more
So I
interesting
didn't.
thing,
I
right?
just I saw a
Imagine
tweet about, it and that was it.
imagine it is a remake, right? Because people like
Yeah.
remakes. People like to make remakes. It said that Peter Jackson is heavily involved.
Okay.
I don't
so
care
what-
if the original director is involved. I rather for the practice of art, I rather have somebody else.
Yeah, well, I mean, my thing is like, what's wrong with the old ones? Like, there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing. Why does it need to be? Why does it need to be remade? Right? Like, what is the actual point of going back and remaking the Lord of the Rings? I don't think there's much of a point in doing that because the fun. You can still watch those movies today and they're perfectly fine. Like, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, you can go back and watch Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood today, right now, and it's still just good anime. Like, there's no, like, what's the point in remaking it? Like, I could understand, like, an argument of, like, okay, we have more modern tech now, I guess, and we can do different techniques and maybe
but
make
the thing
things look a
is,
little
it's
bit
more
better
than
or something.
There's more. You want more
Like,
remakes of games more than what's something you watch.
Well, even with games though, right? Even with games, it's like, yeah, I can understand. Oh yeah, we have quote unquote better graphical fidelity now, right? Depending on your, because I mean, I have my own opinions about McGraphics, right? But you can make it. There's an argument to be had, is what I'm saying, right? You could have a debate about it, right? About remaking something because we have more modern technology and perhaps we could do that shot better now, right? But I don't know if that justifies completely remaking something in a sense, right? I don't know, because especially if the starting point is this older version is outdated, right? If the starting point was, hey, maybe we can remake this because maybe we can do some more fancy stuff with the modern technology, then I'd be like, all right, okay. But the attitude that I'm seeing, especially when it comes to the anime discussion, right, specifically, not necessarily the movie discussion, is these animes are outdated and they're old, and that's, like, they don't say that's bad, but that's the implication of what they're saying, right? When they say that, like, oh, this Spice and Wolf 2003 or whatever, that's old. It's outdated. It's got old shading and old stuff. We have to modernize it, right?
I don't
and
really
I think the funniest part. I'm about to finish.
Oh, sorry.
I'm about to finish, and then I'll let you go, right? Because my cap-off point to that is, which I think is the ironic, funny part, is I don't think the guys in Japan making the remake of Spice and Wolf are sitting there thinking about, man, our version of Spice and Wolf is so much better, right? I don't think that's only a consideration that fans have, right? In a sense. So
because
I'll let you cap off.
The only Spice and Wolf is getting remade because there's still an interest for it, and you can make money from people who want to buy the thing that they recognize. Although the new Spice and Wolf is good and it's worth a watch. It's worth a watch if you watch the old one. The old one is worth a watch. The new one is worth a watch. You can pick and choose or watch both. I don't see.
Yeah, like I've seen some comparison shots and some like people have had some criticisms one way or the other, right? And I can understand the perspective of both sides, right? I'm going to play the enlightened centrist, right? I get the both sides of the argument in it, but I do think that at the end of the day, right, there's nothing wrong with either of them. They seem fine to me, right? they seem fine. There's no issues. But anyway, we're so close to finishing early. We can move on to talking about animus. Move on to talking about the animus that are airing.
A good season 2, because Soma Spider So What could be so much better than what it was before. And if you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend the light novel, or you could always go with the web novel. But if you're not someone who likes reading without pictures, what I recommend doing is just giving either one of them a try. and then go read the manga, where it's fine if you miss out some of the human parts. And then if a season 2
Spoilers,
comes,
there
you
are
get to
humans
see
in the
all of that
manga.
anime.
Yeah, humans exist. But I mean, like, again, like, he hasn't made it like, okay, how is it better, right? There's been no examples, no like real. There's no real point. But anyway, we got 10 seconds left.
Oh, go ahead.
We'll continue when we do our final thoughts, basically.
But that's all I've got for you guys this week, so make sure to like and subscribe, because we're trying to hit 10k before this year ends.
Why Rimuru is the best isekai MC,
Oh,
totally
no.
not biased. Put that one in the queue. We'll bully the kid again another day. So yeah, as I was saying, which I guess can tie into our final thoughts here, I felt like this video didn't really have a point. I felt like it's very there's no real thesis statement here. A good 50% of it is just story recap, and a bad one at that. Right? He doesn't really get into it all that well.
It's
And
not
then the rest
legible
of it
for the
is-
people. It's not legible for the people who don't know,
Yeah,
and it doesn't
like-
still say anything new for the people who do know.
Yeah, because we had to kind of explain stuff that he left out in the gaps, right? And then the other half of it is basically just sort of meandering, I guess.
Vaguely saying
Yeah, he makes these very vague statements, right, about the light novel's better than the anime and the manga because of it misses, there's less humans in the manga and the thing, so it's better, but he doesn't get into like, okay, why is it bad, right? He's missing that really important part of it, right? And it leaves the video feeling very disjointed and very like there's a thread missing, right? There's a part of this missing. So overall, right, I feel like this just feels like one of those videos that's just made to, like, if someone already thought that let's say the human parts were boring, right? If
or
someone
the
had
fight
already
scenes will look
formulated
bad.
all the fight scenes look bad. This video is just like there to confirm that opinion, right? Like, the video man agrees with me. It must be true, Ellie, if the video man agrees with me, right?
Nah,
Video man.
it's a more reason.
So I'll let you do your final thoughts. Well,
Yeah, so
I might go grab a drink while you do that, just so I can fix my throat up.
We complained already a lot about the summaries. I would like to see in my small audience that can spread the word for me. You don't have to do a summary of the plot episode by episode. You can do it by vibes. You can do it by feelings. If you're going to talk about wasted potential, you're not talking about individual scenes. You're not talking about, the CG could be better. I wish they adapted this thing from this chapter. You're talking about the vibe, the feelings, the attitudes, the emotions you got from the light novels or to the anime. I had I read the web novel quickly. I don't remember much about it. I read the manga. I liked the manga very much, and I watched the anime. I have missed some emotions watching the anime from when I read the manga. The manga is funnier, has more comedic moments, has a little bit more tension. It is more exposition heavy. All things that the anime in general has a harder time achieving. But what the anime can do is have pretty people on the screen that talk, and the human side, at least, has the pretty people talk and have doing some fun stuff with it. And it also helps, of course, that the human side was in glimpses in the web novel and very largely absent from the manga. So all the human stuff was new for me and was interesting for me. I got their motivations, I got their conflicts, I got the thing from, this is all I am now a woman now, but I've been living like this for like 17 years. It's not a big deal anymore. To me, it's I'm a dragon, that kind of sucks. Maybe this is karma for being for being such a bitch. But at least you're not going to keep me in a cage, right? Yeah, I'm not going to keep you in a cage. All right, cool. I'll be nice. All that human stuff was interesting. And of course, like we said, it all builds up to the end of the season of good guy says good thing and bad guy says bad thing, but there's something off about it. So why is there something off about this? And that's where the series ends, and then they say, go get the light novels. And advertising for the light novels, in a sense. I forgot the point where I started. Like something like
this
go
is
off
what happens when
vibes.
we're not next to each other, so we can't interrupt each other all the
No.
time. Because you just let you go off. We both go
Oh
off
yeah,
on these
like
wild
why the
tangents.
human side was good and why the human side was necessary. And
Yeah.
to dismiss those human sides in the anime because they weren't as rich or deep as the light novels, too bad.
Too bad.
Too bad. Deal with it. Skill issue.
Deal with it.
I don't care because as somebody who watched the adaptation and said, "Oh, I liked that stuff," I don't care. I'm now on this side, right? I am on the secondary side. I watched Thing and I liked Thing. You complaining about the source material? Oh, how are they butchered it? Oh, in the web novel they did this. Oh, in the light novel they did that. Oh, that's all very nice and good. I don't care. I liked what I saw. What are you going to say about it? I liked something you don't like. I liked it on the because of the wrong reasons.
The pure enjoyment enjoyer.
Versus... Yeah. And you can't convince me to read the light novels. I like the light novels. And you can say, oh yeah, they did have more exposition. Oh, they did have more detail. They did have more character interactions. And I get, oh yeah, they kind of missed that in the anime. That doesn't mean that the anime isn't enjoyable. I very much did. I read the light. I watched the anime for Overlord, right? First season. There was so much exposition in the anime that you could just feel it was adapted from a light novel. So much talking, so much exposition, so much world building, so much things they wanted to say, but also felt very much cut short very often. So I thought, you know what? I feel this is a light novel adaptation. I'm going to read the light novel. And I did read the light novel, and the light novels were very good. And then I kept reading the light novels, and I kept watching the anime. And I liked the anime, and I liked the web novel, the light novels. And the light novels are good for one reason, the anime is good for another reason. You can't stop me. You can't stop me from saying, oh damn, that scene in that anime was kind of lacking. Oh, this scene in the web novel, because in this scene, because in the light novels, they had just an entire page filled with the word splat. Splat, 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 splat. As hundreds of people die. Just a horrifying page of death. And in the anime, could be better. But it was fun seeing the things that splat around moving on the screen. You can't take away enjoyment. If you don't let Reddit take away that enjoyment. If you had fun reading the manga, I had fun reading the manga. Don't say, oh, but the manga is terrible for what... Shut up. Enjoy the manga.
Right. Oh, well, then I guess that pretty much wraps up video coverage. We make some good time on that one. That was a nice short one. That was quite nice.
Yeah, a little bit more pause discipline and just picking a video that's 10 minutes long.
Yeah, picking a video. Yeah, God, I wish. You know, one of the things that was in the back of my head while we were kind of covering that one was this reminds me very much of the good old days before the long dark, as I'm going to start calling it, the long period of inactivity that we had. You know, back in the good old days of having to record using OBS and syncing the audio and doing all that. It's very, very similar kind of video to the ones that we would cover back then, right? It's very, very the very same kind of stuff, right? So, guess I'm a little nostalgic, a little nostalgic for the good old days. But less of the good old days and more of the modern days. What do we got for animes this week? We don't have Ranger because golf happened apparently. So
it's
there's no
also
Ranger
Golden
this
Week, you know, the week long holidays of Japan. So I assume
Yeah,
I assumed
so not
that
as
Ranger got swallowed up in one of the things over there.
well on anime schedule, whatever it says, there was no broadcast because of golf. So that's apparently there was a golf thing that happened.
Something
during the-
rescheduled and that got in the way.
Yeah,
something.
so we'll have to talk about that next week. So what else we got? What else we got?
Well, pick your anime. Right? So I always
you're gonna be mad because I kind of want to talk about Prince first, and you haven't watched Prince.
I mean, I can put up the stuff from last episode on screen.
You can put up the stuff from last episode, and I'll talk about
this
this
isn't
episode
on there.
a little bit.
Last episode,
because there was some funny things. So, yeah, I fucking love this show. I really fucking love this show. The general gist of what happened this episode. So we have a new dog companion. We have the big fluffy direwolf dog thing.
Yeah.
And we get introduced, and Lloyd is trying to tame the dog and get the dog to listen to his commands via a manner, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's having a lot of trouble. Yeah, kind of like what the demon did, but he's having a lot of trouble with the complex commands. Like he's got the sit and the roll over and the the basic shit down, but he can't get the dog to turn around 3 times, jump in the air, bark at the specific pitch, right? That kind of stuff.
Sure.
Right? He's trying to do hyper complex commands, right? And so him and the maid are like, "Hey, let's go see your sister because your sister is big into nature, big into the animals, right?"
Also, I want to just address chat because both Samu and 50 missed the end of the final thoughts on the video. You missed the final thoughts and my very impassioned rant speech about enjoying things that you enjoy.
Yeah, maybe that could be a clip. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, so basically, yeah, we get introduced to the sister, and the sister is a big titty girl who loves the animus, talks to the animus, and so Lloyd and Nira, they're having a conversation about, okay, how do you control the animals? Because it turns out that it's all about projecting your will and having a relationship with the animal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making your wills become one, right? And Lloyd, obviously being the genius that he is, figures this out, right? And while this is all happening, we get a lot of good fan service scenes. The maid gets the sister uses a stealthy dog to undress the maids, and it's great because there's no reason they didn't have to do that, but they did. And then the maid is also having because God, it's hard to explain, but the sister is like, it's love. Love is the reason why I'm able to do this, and the maid is having fantasies about Lloyd fucking just getting hugging her and love and all this stuff, and she's having all these fantasies because she loves Lloyd, right? So there's a lot of funny fan service stuff. Lots of funny fan service stuff happening in the series, right? And it's all really well appreciated, and it all kind of works with the tone too, right? It's not, as we were talking about, I believe a couple of episodes ago, this whole thing about the fan service distracts from the show. It's like no. In this case, it's very much in tune with the tone, right? So that was the first half of the episode because it feels like, I don't know whether or not the show or the series is meant to be kind of based off a short form work, I think. I don't know, because it really felt like this was kind of 2 different chapters together. So you had the dog stuff at the start, and then we're moving into getting introduced to another one of the brothers. So we got introduced to the sister, and now we're getting introduced to another one of the brothers. And this is, I think, the second prince. I can't remember, but he is a blacksmith man, right?
He wants to make was it not Albert? How was he? What's the?
I don't know. Maybe
the
he's
blonde
the
guy
prince.
is the second prince.
Yeah, I don't know. But maybe this is Food Prince. I don't know. It's one of the princes, right? But he's big blacksmith man. He wants to do big spell swords, and he needs Lloyd's help to do the big spell swords because Lloyd can do the enchanting on the weapons. Because it all kind of comes back around, right? And so they're trying to make the fun spell because just like Lloyd is really into magic, the other guy's really into making weapons, right? And he wants to make fun weapons to give to the kingdom, make kingdom strong, right? But the materials that they have are not good enough. So Lloyd and the maid go off to do dungeons with the fighting girl. The monk shows up, and they have conflicts, but they end up going to dungeons to collect materials to make the weapons. And there's some hints going on that perhaps, Ellie, there is a war that might be coming up in the background. Ooh, there's a conflict going on, and they want to have weapons to use in the conflict, and that's what's actually somewhat serious stuff happening alongside goofy fun antics and fan service, right? So yeah, at the end of the episode, yeah, they end up making the spell swords, but he ends up making the sword way too powerful because it's Lloyd, and it blows up like the testing ground again.
Again.
And so he's like, oh, I have to tone that down a little bit, and then they make a bunch of swords that are just like basic fireball, right? Instead of Ignis Explodiarmus or whatever the fuck the spell was that he put on it, right? So yes, it was a fun episode. It was a very, very fun episode. You'll have to watch it and talk about it next week because it was quite. I think my overall impressions of the show is that it's just fun, right? Like there is some hints of some serious, like maybe not serious, like pseudo-serious, right? There's some pseudo-serious stuff happening. I believe the end of the episode ends on the cliffhanger that an assassin has infiltrated the palace.
Isn't that just the thief girl in the opening and ED?
Maybe it's that thief-looking girl. Maybe she's actually an assassin, and and Lloyd has picked up on the assassin, but no one else has. So
Lloyd is the only one.
Yeah, he's the only one. Yeah. So there's some interesting serious versus non-serious, fan service versus non-fan service stuff going on, which I personally find really interesting.
I like do you know Seitokai no Ichizon? Remember that show?
It sounds familiar. Yeah.
Is guy with 3 girls in a student council, and most of the anime happens in the student council room. That also very much marries fun people. They are wearing like a sheep costume and speaking weird accents and doing a whole funny jokes, and then suddenly it's melancholy time. It's walking it's walking 4 in the morning, trying to get some drinks from a vending machine, and just talking normally, and it's the most normal melancholy, watching over the riverbank with just gray fog from left to right, and the normal conversation you have, and that's that big contrast between jokes and just pure melancholy. And I very much enjoy when that switch can happen in 20
I think
seconds.
The switch is not necessarily so extreme in this, but there's definitely it takes itself seriously when it needs to, right? Like when it needs to kind of take itself seriously, it does. But for the most part, it's just kind of a fun comedic, romp with Lloyd doing his fun antics and
that's
fan
also
service.
Something like Kaksikoto. The Sayonara Setsubo Sensei author doing a manga about mangaka and the daughter. That also is like, hey, we are having fun. She's the daughter she's so quirky. Hey, where's your mother?
Yeah. And so Twitter's been kind of quiet, as Sammy brings up about it. I feel like this has kind of become I know there was some talk about it when it came out because everyone was gushing over the Shota because Lloyd, let's be real, Lloyd is literally draw a lolly and then call it a boy, right? Draw a woman, call it a boy. Million sales, right? draw a woman, call it, 'cause, especially in this episode, because in this episode he puts on like a blacksmith's outfit, and it's like he fucking looks like a chick. I'm sorry, he fucking looks like a chick. It's fucking fun, but I think that's part of the I think it's deliberate, right? It's 100% like, you know, oh yeah, Lloyd just is drawn to be for the Shota lovers, right? The Shota fans out there that want their boys that look like chicks, right? And I remember when the show first came out, there was some people on Twitter talking about it, but it's kind of, I think for the better, it's died down, right? Because it hasn't been dragged into a lot of the typical like fan service debate type stuff, because I 100% think it would, based on the fan service that is in it, and you can see some of that in the shots from the last episode, right? With the context of that being that the fighter girl gets eaten by one of the dogs and then she gets spit out again naked, right? So and you know, the maid girl gets a lot of fan service in it, and it's all treated as, you know, kind of, you know, fun and just kind of there. And because Lloyd isn't like interested in it at all, like he doesn't care. He only cares about the magic. He doesn't care about the boobs, right? He's constantly getting smothered by
I had this thought, Naretsu. Lloyd is a bigger slut for magic than any arrow elf.
Oh yeah.
For any elf in any erotic fiction game, your RPG Maker games, your female protagonist in a RPG Maker game, nowhere near as a slut for magic as Lloyd. Lloyd is leaking. He's leaking over the magic. Constantly.
So Lloyd is 100% sexualized. 100 fucking percent. Like, it's very deliberate. It's very.
Those thighs. I have this image
kid,
still,
yeah,
right? I still have this image.
He got the thighs. Yeah, he got the thighs. Yeah, got the hips. He's yeah. There you go. There you go. There it is. He's got the man's got them childbearing hips. But yeah, the We Hate Lolicon and Shotacon people have been real quiet. Yeah, I think it's because it's so overt, right? I made the point last stream that I feel like what ends up happening is these people get more mad when it's like in something that they want to like, right? Like they have to be forced, spoon-fed it, basically. Whereas, and hypocrites, not surprising, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But we don't have to get into any of that. The TLDR is, this is a fun show, and I can't wait to talk about next week's episode, because we're getting introduced to more characters, and I can't wait to see what the dynamic. I want to see how the assassin girl falls in love with Lloyd, like all the other characters fall in love with Lloyd. Because everyone's falling in love with him. And he doesn't give a shit, because he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. So, Naretsu, now it's time to... Oh, I have to also get rid of them. Now it's time for me to convince you to watch another show, Jellyfish in the Night, or Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night.
Yeah, the one that I downloaded, which I have not gotten around. Just not gotten around to it. So yeah, I don't really need convincing, but I'll let you go.
Oh, Naretsu. They released their song, and it's going reasonably well with it, but Naretsu, there's a problem. No, there's not a problem, actually. Wait, this is not a problem. Naretsu saw a big offer, a big artist drew fan art of the character.
Oh boy. Big, oh boy. It looks like nice art. I'll give them that.
Yeah, it looks like nice art.
Looks strangely familiar too. I don't know if that's an artist that I know.
Maybe, but Naretsu. Turns out people say, "Oh, that art is very good. You should do the next art illustration for the band."
Oh.
Hey, this character is kind of cute, but the drawing is a little bit rough. Hey, there's more. That fan art is getting a lot of likes and whatnot. Do you feel the creeping insecurity that your art isn't good enough?
Ooh, oh no.
And she
Oh
and she
no.
starts saying stuff like she the band is happy with the art, but she's saying stuff insecure stuff like, "Hey, which one do you like more? That fan art or mine?" You know, that real artist insecurities are popping up.
Yes, interesting topic.
Interesting topics. So I can say more, but that is really what the episode is about. Artist insecurities. Well, the entire series is about insecurities,
stuff.
but this is specifically about insecurity about your art and comparing yourself and being compared to others.
Oh, it does sound up my alley. So, like I said, I've got it on my downloads thing. So I do have some episodes downloaded, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I might do it if I got nothing else to watch. I might do it today, maybe. I don't know. Might be.
Well, Ranger isn't out, so you got.
Yeah, and Ranger, and we're early anyway, so I'm not gonna have anything to watch anyway. So yeah. Sounds good. Sounds interesting. Sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, I'll go through a couple of mine. So I haven't been watching Spice from Wolf, even though it's like the final episode of this arc. That's kind of the problem with remakes. You already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're already gonna know what's happening. Yeah. So I guess you could just, because we already kind of talked about the whole remake thing already earlier, so we don't really need to rehash
I don't
that.
have to go.
What's the happy fun? I did see that one clip in the bottom right. That was going around Twitter. I saw that this morning with the flustered girl and darkness and funny funs.
Yeah.
So what's going on there, Ellie? Explain to us.
So I'll give a synopsis scene by scene and then not explain why I don't like it. Nah. The party is going out to fight the demon army, and even though Aqua was very much against it when she got insulted by Kazuma for being a nuisance, she just is fine fighting on her own again. Kazuma gets killed embarrassingly because he got overconfident and then died. But don't worry, he got resurrected again, and he got a mission to because Aqua, in her infinite wisdom as a goddess, sends these adventurers out with overpowered items and has no checks on them. So these world-shattering, destabilizing powers are just left in the world without a care.
Big mess, yes.
So Kazuma is charged by Eris, the goddess, to help gather these items and make sure they don't cause a huge mess. So then he's awoken again. Darkness gets a lot of credit because she ran right into danger because she likes to get hit and got praised for it, and that's semi-embarrassing for her, so she's there. Megumin gets the most praise of all. She's the hero. She's the greatest ever. She's the best of all times. Everything.
Big explosion.
her explosion magic gets praised as the thing that helps defeat the entire thing. Her heroic wisdom and superpowers are finally being acknowledged until she's being asked to teach advanced magic, what she can't do. So now she wants to leave as soon as possible, so she doesn't disappoint her new fame.
Yeah.
Her fame and recognition doesn't get tarnished by it. But so, as Kazuma and Megumin are going to rest for a bit, because Megumin is, falls flat whenever she uses the explosion magic, turns out that the princess carries an item that can switch bodies.
Oh boy.
So Kazuma is like, well, I wouldn't mind living in the body of a girl, but I'd rather have my body back.
Right.
And they surmise that they just have to wait this out until they switch back. So the princess has already a thing. She can't leave the castle without a big, protection or retinue. So she wants to take this opportunity, go outside and do stuff. And Megumin will be there, protecting the prince slash the body of Kazuma. So Kazuma is just going to parade the castle, being a princess, being far more standoffish as she normally is, and when being told that darkness is in the bath, first thing she does is, no, take me there right now. With some extra funny shenanigans happening, Kazuma didn't want the princess to notice that she was in a bath, but seeing darkness, including darkness naked, he thinks, whatever. Tomorrow, more worries are for tomorrow. And so he undresses so he can bath with Darkness and Claire, the bodyguard of the princess, and seeing their naked bodies. Meanwhile, Megumin is encouraging Kazuma to talk trash to big, strong, burly men, and Kazuma's body at least gets punched in the face for it. So that is the episode, the summary, and this now where I don't like it. See, Konosuba is famous for funny faces, but they're doing it a little bit much. They're relying on the same faces, and it's getting a little bit stale. So if they don't do anything about it, I'm going to write a letter about how they are trash.
You need new material.
New material. So this is my video about how I'm summarizing like for half an hour, and in 5 minutes I'm vaguely telling you why I don't like it.
Right.
No, it's good.
Okay.
It's fun. It's funny.
Right. All right. Well, yeah.
I'll go rush through Girls Band Cry.
Ah, yes, the Nemister Society main character continuing to be a menace.
If people in the chat, people in the comments, people on the YouTube are watching this, you know that Nina is the worst person. Really, she's so self-centered. So self-centered. If she doesn't like it, it's not going to happen. If she doesn't like it, you will know she doesn't like it, and she will maybe even tell you she doesn't like it. But most of all, she'll just look at you, staring you until you recognize and say, yeah, I know you don't like it. She would be terrible to be around, and she's a very funny protagonist for it. But
yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, she's terrible but entertaining. Terrible but entertaining.
She doesn't say what her issue is. She just complains about how people don't get what her issues are.
Right.
Why doesn't nobody understand me? Oh, what? Oh, I want to understand you. What's the matter? Nothing.
God.
Yeah.
It sounds fun. It sounds fun.
Oh yeah, they having a fight in a bar, and she throws her beer over the other person, and the other person throws her beer over her.
Everyone's got beer everywhere.
Yeah, and the reason is because the older girl she's in the band with was previously in another band. That other band is now getting big, but she was the vocalist, not the protagonist, the older girl. The older girl was the vocalist of this old band, which is now getting big, and the vocalist is replaced by apparently the girl that kind of bullied her in high school. The school she ran away from, the life she ran away from, is now in the band that she loved so much. That inspired her to get away.
Big conflict, big oh no.
The band and the song that encouraged her to get away from her oppressive life the person responsible for that is now the face of the band and is now singing the songs. It's more than just a kind of a betrayal. It's a corruption. You are the reason why I did this. How are you singing my song? Kind of betrayal. And she's not happy about it, but doesn't want to say it. So now she's going to angrily.
She's gonna pout. Yeah, she's gonna pout.
And she's going to angrily perform.
Yeah.
Her band the band is just her outlet for angrily singing. Why don't you understand me? I think including stuff. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's all
sounds good.
This fully 3D show. I've not mentioned it up until this point because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The 3D is good. All right, fine. Nina is the worst. It's the best.
Right. Sounds good.
Go talk about Blue Archive. Oh, this.
All right, time to talk about the funny meme show. Apparently, I saw on Twitter, the official Twitter for Blue Archive put out a thing where they were like, official version with English subtitles coming out soon. So we might have to rely on the
from the game, from the app.
Yeah, the actual game account tweeted it out. So we'll have to see what happens with that. So this episode kind of carries on from the last one, where they take the ledger back to the council building, and they're going over the ledger, and it's like, oh, it is true. Our money from our loan that we've been giving to the loan shark has been going to the bank that's been funding the terrorists that have been trying to take over the school. Why? Don't know yet. Seems kind of weird that, they're taking all of this money from us so they can destroy us, even though they're making money off. It's very, very confusing. Very, very. What's going on here, right? So that's kind of what's going on with that. On the other end of things, you have the problem solver task force doing funny shenanigans. There's funny shenanigans going on with them. They're trying to figure out, they need to have a plan, right? Big plan. What is the plan to take down the Abydos school? Even though Aru doesn't really want to take down the Abydos school, but she has to because it's her job and she's been hired to take down the Abydos school, right? And she's very depressed and very tired about this whole situation. And the I don't remember her name, but the pink one that I have in the top corner there, right?
Mm-hmm.
She is very much I want to impress Aru. I like Aru. I want to impress my senpai. I want to big impress, right? So they go to the ramen shop, and Aru kind of has this like stabbing point where she's like, this is all nonsense. We're meant to be the villains. What are we doing here, eating ramen and being friends with the people that we're meant to be? And the pink girl is like, I totally understand you, Aru. Let's blow up the ramen shop. with everyone inside it, by the way. With Aru and the whole problem solver task force inside the ramen shop. Let's blow up the ramen shop. And Aru's like, yeah, wait a minute. And so they blow up the ramen shop, and that causes a big commotion. And Abydos task force has to come in, and Aru has to like. Aru is like, on one hand, I'm meant to be the villain, but on the other hand, I don't want to be the villain. Yeah. She's like, yeah, it's kind of funny. It's actually kind of funny. I quite liked it. And at the end of the episode, we're about to get introduced to the Gehenna students. The Gehenna students are about to show up, and because the problem solver task force it was initially from Gehenna, but they're on the run because they're criminals. They wanted criminals in Gehenna. So now the student council prefect, I think it's called the prefect squad or something, has shown up, and they're like, yeah, we gotta deal with this situation. If you guys get in our way, Abydos girls, we're gonna beat the shit out of you, right? Even though it's big misunderstandings happening, basically. And so we're probably gonna see some conflict, like a freeway conflict, happen next episode, which is gonna be quite interesting. But it's so fun. Yeah, no, it's been great. I love the comedy of it, right? Like Aru is so confused because her whole character is basically she's the nerd that wants to be cool, but she fails so hard at being cool, and it just leads to funny situations where she's like, she's not actually a villain, but she's trying to play the part of the villain. And she's and the other girls on the squad, there's two girls that are actually competent, and they're like, yeah, this is we're just here for the ride, right? This is fun. This is fun. And then the purple haired girl is the big, like, looking up to Aru because of misinterpreting, right? Misunderstanding what's going on, and wanting to be looked at by senpai and that kind of thing, even though she's shy, right? And she's trying her best, right? And we also got some hints about what's her name? Hoshino, the pink-haired girl who acts like an old man, who's the senior of the Abydos girls. We got some little hints that something happened in the past, which is why she doesn't trust the other schools and won't ask the other schools for help. And there's some hints of some stuff going on there, but we don't get a lot of the info about it. And yeah, no, it's good. It's a good episode. It's good. It's fun. Blue Archive is pretty good. It's been a good time. I see Samu says, yeah, he started playing it recently. Now he's conflicted. He wants to skip the story due to the lack of time, but it's actually good. Guess you could narrate to and get gushing over gun girls instead of magical girls. Yeah, it's a little bit like that. But yeah, Blue Archive's got some good stuff going on. It's very it's a fun little story. A lot of the more like deep, big lore type stuff doesn't quite happen until later on. So it's not right now. It's mostly just funny antics while the investigation is going on. Right, there's big investigation to try and figure out what's going on with Kaiser Corporation and why they're trying to destroy the Abydos school. Right, because we don't know yet in the series why that's happening, but. Yeah, we've got to deal with the problems of a task force blowing up the ramen shop. So yeah, that kind of ends the discussion on Blue Archive for this week. So we'll next week apparently we're gonna see. I think her name is Hina. She's like the head of the prefect squad, and she's like supposedly like she's like a lolly, but she's like the strongest fucking character in the whole. One of the strongest in the whole.
Does she have like
city.
Silver white hair?
Yeah, she's got silver hair and the big halo that's got the like gun rifling on it, and she uses like a fucking machine gun and stuff. Yeah, she's showing up next episode, so that's gonna be fun. So yeah, Hina, my carry. Yeah. Oh man, I want to play Blue Archive, but I have way too much fucking like God, this is kind of related, so cool or not. I've been playing the new Arknights event, or I finished reading the Arknights event, and fuck me, there's so much words. It's like reading a fucking novel. Oh god, there's so much to talk about with that. If I wanted to talk about it, it's like, oh fuck. So that's why I haven't played Blue Archive, just because you can only handle so many of these games at once.
I've tried playing mobile games. I can't. My mobile phone isn't for games. You have to force me to play mobile games for me to play mobile games. I can't do it out of my own.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing: you can enjoy the anime though, so
I could enjoy the anime, but you can't. You can try, but I won't play any mobile games because I don't have a.
BlueStacks, yeah. Well, I mean, you can emulate. I mean, I wish Google, because Google's been doing this. They have this new thing where you can play mobile games on PC, but it's limited to certain games right now. They haven't opened it up yet. I think it's still in beta. I know Arknights. You can play Arknights on PC with it, and I've done that a couple of times, and it works quite well. But it's one of those. Yeah, there are ways to get around it, but no, I think the anime so far has been really good. And I think it's been doing the story because, again, I know of the story. I've watched like several hour fucking lore things, so I know what's coming. I know what's happening, right? But I feel like the anime is doing a good service to the story, and it's adapting it quite well into the format. So I think you'd probably get a good time out of it. I think it's
well,
so
maybe I don't. To be honest, right? I don't think I'll ever get to Blue Archive because this season is packed already as is, and
yeah.
by next season.
Maybe we'll see because I don't know how they're going to release the so-called official version that's supposedly coming out. Because if they put it up on YouTube, that'll be fucking great. If they just put it out on YouTube, that would be really, really good. Because I've heard that it is out on YouTube for there's some other countries that have done licensing stuff where they put it up on YouTube, but it's only for those countries, right? So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's talk lastly, I should say, about Mushoku Tensei.
Lot to talk about, actually. I thought this was a very interesting episode.
It was all talking, in not a single scene of action.
0 out of 10. No fighting.
No
fighting.
Action.
No animation. Big disappointment. I'm so mad, Ali. I'm so mad. There's no.
Boring.
It's so terrible.
Skip
through
I thought
this was really fascinating because it's almost like, and it's very direct in this, but it's like Rudius is kind of having to reconcile with himself.
Confront himself, really.
Yeah, he's confronting himself, yeah. And so I guess we should probably give like the context here. So Rudy's sister is essentially having a bad time, right? She's having a rough time. She's not really integrating. And the general like TLDR is that she has these preconceived notions about Rudius, right? Because of their first sort of meeting when she's of age to actually like recognize him. He's beating the shit out of Dad, right?
Yeah, and you don't, right? As a general rule, you don't like the people that are beating your dad.
Yeah. So she has these preconceived notions about Rudius, but then everyone around her is constantly talking about how great he is, how cool he is. Oh, he's so kind. He's so nice. He helped me do this. He helped me do that. He's a nice person. He's so magically gifted. He's such a, you can follow in his footsteps. You're going to be so cool too, right? And she's sort of getting crushed by both the confliction of her own feelings about Rudius based on her preconceived notions, and also the fact that she's kind of being thrusted into his shadow, right? In a sense.
Yeah,
and this is causing her to...
I see it's like, it's almost like freeway pushed, because Norm is the girl we're talking about. Norm knows Rudy as violent. Right?
Yeah.
Then she hears from other people that Rudy is nice and strong and powerful. And between those two, you could think that Rudy is secretly violent. Right? Harboring a dark secret. Scary, manipulative. So there's confliction. Do I believe the people who say no, don't worry, trust him, or do I believe my own eyes?
Right.
Or are they just mistaken and Rudy is a manipulator? And then you have the side that is indeed, so he is respected here, but I'm being compared to a violent person that is hiding his violence, that people think are good, and you want me to be like Rudy? There's a lot of conflicting info and feelings and perspectives, and
yeah, it's complicated.
It's very complicated for Norm, and I thought it was very realistic, accurate, that even when Rudy gives Norm the space, right? Norm is kind of afraid of Rudy. I've read it as because she kind of thinks that Rudy is manipulative, scary. He's able to convince these people maybe he'll be able to convince them against her, scared of Rudy's influence.
And there's also this kind of expectation that he's going to be abusive, like, because one of the things in here, a little like flashback type thing where she's going through all the events, right, is, Rudy agrees to let her live in the dorms and give her that space. And she wasn't expecting that. She was expecting Rudy to be mad at her and to
get angry,
to physically hit her, basically, right? And tell her that she's wrong and she's bad or whatever. And she's like she's basically super fucking confused, right?
But
As
also,
to like, why isn't he hitting me? Like, what the fuck's going on?
But the conclusion she comes up with, it's not that. He doesn't want to hit me because he doesn't care about me at all.
Yeah. He doesn't care about me. Yeah, so
that's why he won't hit me.
Yeah, so she's coming to these really wild, wrong conclusions about,
but reasonable conclusions, though.
Yeah, you're reasonable to her point of view, right?
Yes.
Reasonable to her point of view from her perspective, but are not true in reality, right? Like, and that's actually, and it's like you said, it's kind of realistic, right? Like, it is actually kind of what can happen when you have a kid that age experience, the kind of things that she experienced, with Rudy beating the shit out of Dad. Why is he beating Dad? Like, it's almost like when you have like people in a abusive relationship like that, right? Like, why is Dad beating Mom, right? Like, what the fuck, right? And then Dad is taking me to McDonald's, right? Like, there's a lot of that confliction that happens, right? So there's a very interesting character, right, and very, very fascinating. But I guess we should probably move into like the Rudy side of it, right?
Yeah.
Because Rudy, at first, he's like, okay, someone's bullying here. What the fuck's going on? I'm gonna deal with this, right?
I'm going to kill them, kind of, almost.
I'm going to kill them, yeah. But that's the thing, because he is seeing himself in her, right?
Yes.
He is seeing what happened to him. Oh, what happened to me might be happening to her. I don't want anyone to have to go through what I went through, right? I'm gonna fucking stop this right now. So he breaks into the classroom and he goes, right, which one of you motherfuckers? Which one of you motherfuckers is bullying my goddamn sister? I'm gonna fucking kill you. He doesn't do it exactly like that, but that's like the vibe, right? And everyone in the room kind of sees that, and they're all kind of like, fuck.
He's angry at us, but we don't know if we can convince him otherwise.
Could convince him otherwise. But then it turns out that, like, once they start kind of explaining, right, that, we've been talking about how great you are and how she's going to be just like you. And even the teacher is like, oh, don't worry about, your grades slipping. It's fine. You'll end up just like Rudy, you'll be fine. And then Rudy kind of puts 2 and 2 together in a sense. And he goes, oh, shit. It's my fault. It's my fault. Right?
Well, like on an abstract level, like...
On an abstract level, yeah, no, it's not literally his fault, but on an abstract level, it's his fault, and that kind of weighs on him a bit. And so he concocts a bit of a plan with the other girls, right? With the two beast girls
and the princess,
and the princess, and Sylphie, right? To kind of we need to deal with this. This is big. I have to fix this problem, right? We have to nip this in the butt now. So they go. Rudy finds his way into her room. This is just...
but more important, before she finds the way into her room, Rudy confronts kind of himself at the door.
Yeah, it's such a good scene too. It's such a good scene where he knocks on the door and the voice that tells him to go away is himself. And then he opens the door and it's him in his room, right? And you've got that on the screen as well, which was good. Like, he's like relating this to how his brother tried to help him, and his brother came in and said all of these logical arguments and all of these platitudes.
Just try it out a little bit. You don't have to do it today, but if you stay here all the day, you're wasting your life away.
All of this stuff, and he's remembering how none of it worked. None of it had any effect. He just didn't give a shit, right? He doesn't because he's not going to empathize with any of that, and he's having this like realization almost of like, oh, so that's what it must have been like, right? He's having like this empathy moment where he's realizing how much of a cunt he was, right?
But also how much his brother tried. His brother really tried in every way, and now Rudy stands in his brother's shoes, and now he thinks, I want to say the same things, but I know they don't work.
Yeah, they're not going to work, yeah. So he just kind of sits there, basically.
But he just says the right words. He says, sorry, I'll be here. And doesn't put any expectations or whatever. It's just, I'm sorry.
And then he just sits there,
Can I be with you?
Come to you, yeah. And then he just sits there for a while, yeah. And then that's when she has her kind of mental, outlet, breaking it down in a sense. She has to kind of figure it out, right? And that, of course, leads to her kind of, when he's about to leave, she stops him, and he, they sit down, and she has a cry about it, right? And then, he doesn't really fully understand what happened, but she seems better now, so all's well that ends well, right? That
until
kind of ends on it, yeah.
Until the next episode's title is dropped.
Yeah. For the chat, because it might be hard to see on the screen. What is the next episode's title, Ellie? What is
Turning Point 3.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Here we go.
As a reminder, Turning Point is the episode where the Mana disaster event happened, where everybody got teleported all over the place. People died, people got enslaved, people got whatever everywhere.
People fell out of the sky and splattered into a million fucking pieces, yeah.
So everywhere. And so that was kind of bad, right? Turning Point 1, bad. Turning Point for the story, alright. Turning Point 2, Rudy dies. Orsted comes along, does a big fight, and
so what's Turning Point 3 gonna be? Oh boy. So so big hype for the next episode. We're gonna see what happens there. But to talk about this other note, this was a really good episode. I think it was a really interesting kind of perspective piece, right? And an interesting showcase of that kind of how these mental health issues kind of manifest, and Rudy kind of coming to terms with his past self and the kind of the where he went wrong, right?
Yeah, but also
and trying to help someone else who is seemingly in a similar headspace to what he was, and wanting to kind of.
I mentioned it before because I find it a little bit important. He now also has more empathy for his brother, right?
Yeah.
That he understands that his brother.
And he even says, "Hey, if Nanahoshi ever gets back to the other world, I'll have her send a message, right?
I'm sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't do the good stuff that you recommended to me, but thank you for trying."
Yeah, and I think that's it's very touching. It's very, very touching. And it's it kind of showcases the strength of Mushoku Tensei as a story, I think, and what it's about,
and the strength of isekai.
Yeah, because the whole point of of the jobless reincarnation, right? The whole point is that Rudy is supposed to be developing and becoming a better person, right? And he's still got his pervy ways, right? He's still the same Rudy that he's always, he's not losing that part of him, but he is becoming a more, as you put it, he's getting more empathy with others, right? He's becoming more empathetic. He's becoming a better person. He's making friends. He's got a wife. He's got people he cares about, right? And he's starting to kind of realize that, maybe I could have also had those things in my past life had I not been an asshole, right?
Well,
or had I have actually worked over my trauma instead of let it kind of
consume
take control, right? Yeah, consume him, right? So there's interesting stuff about that. So yeah, fucking great episode, fantastic. It's such a good series. very much enjoying it. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, short
other
stream today.
The other stuff would be
Shorts.
like there is no new episode of the new Power Ranger, and you haven't been watching Kaiju 8.
I forgot last stream, but I've not because I find it disinteresting or anything, right? But it's just like I've been very fucking busy the last couple of weeks, so I kind of haven't had like the want or feel like there's only so many hours in a day basically, and I'm like, do I really want to watch another anime today, or do I just want to?
Yeah, I also I've made myself a little bit busy because just in general, last week was kind of busy for me. I did stuff. I went to the islands. I'm going to the islands like in the weekend also. But also besides that, games I want to play came out, like Total War Warhammer. You play a session that's 8 hours long. You can't help it. That's the minimum amount of time.
Yeah.
Then there's Stellaris has an update. Hades 2 came out. I've put 13 hours in Hades. Stuff happens. Also, Helldivers is still good, so...
Yeah, despite everything, it's still good.
Oh yeah,
Do we want to quickly talk about that since we've got time, right?
We got some time. Sony said Sony said make accounts. Helldiver said nah.
Yeah, Helldiver's player base said nah. I guess I'll
win.
talk. So the general, we won in the end. But the general thing that happened was because I've been looking at this from multiple different perspectives, because there's like different perspectives about this, right? You have the perspective of the Sony, right? Sony is like, you need to have account linking because we want to have 5% increase in PlayStation Network accounts to show at the board meeting, right?
Yeah.
And that's probably the reason. That's most likely the reason why they wanted to force it. Now,
from what I understand, a actual small benefit in moderation.
Yes, that was what the devs said. And the other thing the devs said was it was always planned, but because there were technical difficulties when the game launched, they made the decision to delay requiring to have an account until they had rectified those issues, and then they could make it a requirement, right? Now, the problem came, and I think this was... The devs have admitted this, right? Well, the CEO himself has admitted this. And I don't know if you probably don't follow the CEO on Twitter, but I've been seeing his tweets pop up. He actually seems like a really cool dude. He actually seems like a not your typical CEO. He actually seems like an on-the-level kind of guy. And he fully admits that they should have made it more clear that it was going to be a requirement at some point, rather than just kind of being like, hey, you can do this if you want to, but it's optional. It's, whatever, right?
Yeah, because
they should have done a better job at communicating, basically.
Because I came into Helldivers slightly after the big hype moment. So, I came out at day 15 of Helldivers.
Yeah, I got it a few months after you as well, so, it was good.
So, I saw the screen that said, "Hey, you have to have a PlayStation account," and then I clicked around, and then it never came up again.
Yeah, and for me, I was kind of like, oh, well, I've got an old PSN that I don't use for anything else. Fuck it, I might as well. Yeah, I was like, fuck it, like, why not? Because whatever. So I wasn't gonna be really like I didn't even really care. Like, I just went through the thing anyway, just because I was like, fuck it, I have a Sony account that I use for headsets as well. It's all tied together anyway. Like, fuck it. So I wasn't going to be personally affected by the change anyway. But I do think that both the communication issue, right, that it should have been more properly communicated to people that, hey, yeah, we're going to be doing this. You guys better be ready for it, right? And then also the whole fact that there are some countries that can't have a PlayStation account because PlayStation Network doesn't service those countries, but those countries were still able to buy the game, right? That was a bit of a fuck up on Sony's part, I think. They should have. Again, it all kind of comes back to miscommunication. Should have been more clear about what the requirement was going to be instead of just kind of leaving it hanging for a few months, right? So it all comes to a head when in the patch notes they announce, hey, guys, we are totally going to have it so that you need an account by this date. The grace period is ending. And this basically made everyone get really pissed. Everyone was big mad about it. And I can understand why, right? Some of it is just, it's annoying to have to link an account, whatever. Some of those complaints are just kind of whatever. But I do think that the people that are in those countries, like Egypt, for example, is one of the big ones, right? People in those countries that aren't serviced by PlayStation Network were essentially going to get banned from playing the game that they paid for, right? And I think that was fucking wrong, right? And worth having a big kerfuffle about, right? So things kind of progress over the next few days with that, right? And the CEO was talking about how, yeah, I'm not happy about this either. I'm just as disappointed as everyone else. This is people not being able to play the game is shit. I am doing everything in my power to negotiate with Sony. The negative, like there was some stuff about the community managers, and I do think the community managers did a poor job handling the situation, because they only kind of tossed more fuel to the fire. I think the suggestion to do the negative reviews was a good one though, because the CEO essentially oh yeah, you're doing some graphic design work.
I thought, why not have text on this thing? And I'm
why not?
trying
I'll
to
let you cook while I keep explaining what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So the general thing is that he was using the review score stuff and the massive backlash in negotiations with Sony, and he was trying to fight on the side of the gamers, basically. And he was saying, look at how fucking mad everyone is. You're being fucking stupid. Can you please fucking just reconsider this, right? Because obviously he's the one that is in the publishing deal with Sony. There's probably contractual stuff involved, boring business, we don't know, right? Kind of stuff. But in the end, Sony came out with a post and they said, all right, we're not going to do that. We fucked up. Big fuck up on our part. We're still learning. So and so, right? Yeah, democracy wins. Helldivers wins. Yeah, and yeah, I think there's still a bit of animosity there. I think I do think that a lot of people blamed the devs when they shouldn't, and I think that was primarily due to the poor reaction from the community managers. I think that did a really poor job of communicating. Yeah, like, it's frustrating. We understand that you there's a problem. This is a Sony problem, not an us problem, right?
Yeah, because I don't blame necessarily the gamers as as a group that they are for saying, "Hey, devs, why are you doing this?" But from what I heard, noticed, caught on to was that very quickly most of the blame went to Sony afterwards, because it
did quickly shift.
The studio very quickly said, yeah, we don't like this. Oh, so you don't like this. So it's Sony that's doing it. All right, Sony, marching on to the Sony headquarters.
I think the CEO's statements had more to do with that than the statements from the community managers.
Yeah, but community managers are kind of limited to what they can say from up high, right?
Well, no, not even that, because I read the quotes and a lot of them came off as way too dismissive, and that was the problem. And one of them actually left. I don't know if they got fired. People are saying she or he, Spritz or whatever. People are saying that they got fired. I haven't seen any proof that they got fired. It's probably more likely that they just stepped down, right? That's what seems like more to me, right? I wouldn't know unless there's a confirmation that they got fired. I don't know, right? I would rather go under the assumption that they stepped down just because of the pressure, and it wasn't, they fucked up, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I think
the problem was more. I think the problem for the community manager side of it was the dismissiveness of the community managers, basically saying, oh, it's not a big deal. Why is it such a big deal to make an account? You know, if you're mad about it, go review bomb the game. Oh, it's not a big, oh, whatever. Like it came off as very like not really factoring in why people were mad. And because obviously a lot of people are mad because of the inconvenience, like I said, but I think more people were pissed about the whole, I'm in Egypt. I brought this game with my Egyptian money. It's my, why am I going to get locked out of my game because I can't make a PlayStation Network account in Egypt for whatever fucking reason, right? Because of country restrictions, licensing, PlayStation Network just doesn't fucking serve, whatever. And also, like, people that don't have a PlayStation, right? Like, why would I make a PlayStation account if I don't have a PlayStation? I've never had to make a PlayStation account. What's the point in me making a PlayStation account if I don't own a PlayStation, console to play PlayStation games on, right? So, and people, there's been like multiple sides to it, I guess, because there have been like the devil's advocate or the Sony defender side that are like, oh, but what about Ubisoft? They make you do it as well. Or what about
I hate Ubisoft
EA?
accounts.
Exactly.
This is my story, right?
Everyone hates it.
I played Anno 2070. Game is alright. I liked it, but I had to make a
Hey David, how you doing? We're near the end of the stream, but we're having a chat about Helldivers.
Yeah, and accounts.
Anyway, sorry.
Stupid accounts. I play for Anno 27. You had to have an account, and you got the launcher for Uplay was terrible. The achievements were obnoxious and intrusive, and was a pain to have it, and I didn't like it at all. Right now on Steam, Anno, what was it? 15. Was it this? How much?
15 something.
15 free because it always have to add up to a 9. It's a 9, right? I assume. Anno 15 free.
Yes.
I love that game. That is my childhood game that got me into Anno. It's like one of the oldest Anno games. Good stuff. Dutch voice acting, great. I wouldn't be able to play it otherwise. You have to get an account for it. So I haven't bought the game. My favorite childhood game that is now remastered and playable on modern machines, and I haven't bought it, I haven't played it, because you need an account. I don't want more accounts. They're a pain.
Yeah.
Even if Sony is the most crypto supercomputer quantum safe companies that ever existed and will be forever uncracked, I don't care. Making more accounts is a pain.
Yeah, I agree.
So
very much in agreement there. Yeah.
I don't know if I wouldn't have for Helldivers, but I certainly won't make it out of my own accord.
Yeah, like it's a different situation for me because obviously I already had that PlayStation.
You're already fallen.
Sitting there. Right. I've already. Well, no, because I do have a PlayStation 4. I haven't turned it on in 5 years, but I do have I do have the PlayStations, right? So I just have that account sitting there already. So I don't, to me it's like whatever. I'll just log into it. I have access to it, whatever. But I do understand your frustration and stuff around it, and I'm more sympathetic to your cause, right? Even though it doesn't personally affect me, which I feel like a lot of the PlayStation stands are kind of lacking that kind of, because they're probably looking at it through the same perspective I am, where it's like, oh yeah, I already have a PlayStation account. Why are you making it such a big deal? You just log in. Like, what's the problem, right?
I mean,
Not
everybody
really
has a
realizing
PlayStation. Nobody has an Xbox account, so.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like it's one of those types of situations, I guess, where it's like, yeah, there's stuff. But in the end, right, all's well that ends well. And I like the CEO. I just want to say that again. Like, his tweets about it have been pretty good. Like, he's pretty. I kind of like his
he's pretty
outlook
blunt
on it, I guess. Yeah, he's pretty. He's yeah. I think he mentioned in one of them, like he's not really like like the CEO stuff for him is like, he's more of a designer, right? Game design, big
Oh, he's
make
an
the game,
Iwata in
do the
that
game.
sense.
Yeah, he's very much more like he's the game dev that was put in the charge of the CEO just because he was the only guy really willing to do it.
Yeah,
So
that
it
sounds
kind
like
of is like,
Iwata,
yeah,
and
okay.
if people being like Iwata is always a good thing.
Yeah, so he's very on the level, I would describe it, right? He's very much on the on the level of the goomers, right? He's very much on the level of
I
the
do
goomers.
very much.
And he was talking about recently actually about the balancing, because people have been very mad about the balancing
I
in
don't care. I
Helldivers right
play
now. How they
Helldivers, and the balancing is such nothing boringness.
listen, Ellie, people are mad that they nerfed the Eruptor, okay? The fun toy got nerfed and people are mad about it. That's the general. I don't fucking care either. I'm like,
No,
whatever.
yeah.
But I guess on one level, I can kind of understand it, because it's like, oh, you're having fun with the Eruptor and you're killing all the things with the Eruptor, and it's big fun, and then they nerf it, they change the way the shrapnel works, or they buff the armor on some enemies or something, and that causes like a nerf to the Eruptor, and then all of a sudden it's not fun, quote unquote, anymore, right? So I kind of get it, but at this, I remember when the patch came out. Do you remember that, before all of this, right? And everyone was so mad because like 2 or 3 guns got a quote unquote nerf, even though it was like the sickle got like 3 mags instead of 6, even though it's an energy weapon and you can have infinite ammo anyway as long as you play the fucking thing right. Like, is it really a nerf? Oh, the quasar cannon takes like 5 more seconds to reload, right? Like, or to charge, to cool down, right? Oh, the horror. It's unusable now. Ellie, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Even though when you look at the patch notes, it's like every single weapon outside of that got fucking buffed, right? Like buffs all around for every other gun, but except these like 1 or 2 weapons got like a slight nerf. Everyone lost their fucking minds, right? And I kind of think that on some level I could get it from some perspectives, but I don't see it as bad. But the CEO was on Twitter talking about it, and he was saying, yeah, okay, we'll have another look at it. We'll try to maybe make things a bit less nerfy in the future. We'll just buff things or whatever. So I don't know. I feel like people are overreacting to that kind of thing, personally.
Yeah. I wanted to mention, right, because the new premium pass came out.
Yes, the War Bond came out.
Yeah, and I've played enough to have I've played enough to have 1,000 super credits without paying anything. So I bought the super pass, and I unlocked the weapon, and the weapon is kind of fun. It's a submachine gun. It fires a little bit slower, but it has a higher stagger rate.
And it has concussive rounds or something.
Yeah, that makes it stagger. So I'm playing.
Well, you can have fun with the shield. You can have fun with the shield now, because the shield needs more weapons you can use with it.
So. Oh yeah, that's true. I haven't bothered with the shield. Maybe I will, but
I've done it. So I did a couple of rounds a while ago where I did a build that was based around having the shield plus the submachine gun plus that giant machine gun to take out massively heavy enemies. You use the big machine gun with the high rate of fire, and you just kind of vaguely aim for the head. Vaguely aim for the head and let the machine gun do its thing. And that's quite fun, actually. Like, the shield gameplay is quite, especially with bots. It's not so good for Terminids, but it's fun to play with bots, because the shield is really effective against pretty much anything that's not a missile. So you can like tank a lot of shit. So it's quite fun.
But to finish my point, right? I use this new submachine gun. Hey, it's kind of fun. It kind of staggers the enemy a bit. It's not that powerful. I kind of run out of ammo a little bit quick. Hey, but it's fun. I'm going to Discord, and I'm going into a Discord server. And the first thing I see is, oh, they're going to nerf this weapon because it can stagger stalkers. You know.
Yeah, but why are the stalkers though?
Why are you
Yeah.
asking for a nerf because it can stack towers. Why does it?
Yeah,
It
why?
doesn't even.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm watching this video you posted over right here. It doesn't even kill a stalker. It
Yeah,
just
it's just like,
you need to unload
Yeah.
You need to unload more than an entire clip of this to kill a stalker.
from what I understand, those types of stag, because there's another gun that's like a stagger weapon as well, right? But and a lot of those, like the concussive weapons, are more like support weapons, right? Like you're staggering it so that your teammate can come in and fucking annihilate the thing, right? So why are you getting mad about? Why do you want to nerf it? Because see, this is the thing. People listen. People are retarded. Okay. Okay. This is the problem. I'm going to be a heretic. Democracy. This is the problem with democracy, right?
That's why
democracy
we need managed democracy.
Yeah, exactly. Democracy is for the people, by the people. But the people are retarded. Okay. Okay. The people are retarded. They don't know what they want. Okay.
And that's
People
why
need to understand this.
I'll decide for them as their.
Yeah.
I'll decide
as the manager of democracy. Yeah.
I'll be the manager of
I mean, I was looking into the. I've heard that the new assault rifle looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I also have a I also have 1,000. I've like got 1,600 super credits saved, so I could probably look at grabbing it maybe. I don't know.
But
also, because I don't have any of the other. Like I have the high tech one, the one with the lasers in it. I got that one, but I don't have any of the other war bonds. So I was thinking of getting the fire one because we've been fighting Terminids quite a lot, and those fire weapons seem like they might be quite.
Yeah, I also got the impact napalm grenade. It's good. Also, why do you want to nerf a single player game?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. What a nerf, bunny.
Yeah. Anyway,
it doesn't make any. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Anyway, let's. We are over 3 hours, so stream of
tiredness.
Yeah,
we're pretty good. Yeah, I reckon we could probably.
I just wanted to mention that. So Xbox is.
Oh yes, the Xbox stuff.
Yeah,
might as well quickly talk about that. Yeah.
This is my statement.
That is
Do I need to say more?
So, from what I understand, because I've been seeing, I don't really care about Xbox being dead, I guess, but like, from what I understand, the TLDR is that they shelved a bunch of studios, and one of them was like the Hi-Fi Rush studio. And I think, and the ironic part is they literally shelved that studio, and the very next fucking statement out of Tim Schafer's mouth is, "We need more indie-style, lesser-budget games that can get big awards." And he's like, so it's like, have you seen the meme of the guy? He like shoots the guy on the chair, and then he looks at the camera, and he's like, "How could someone have done this?" Right? It's like, it's basically that. It's basically fucking that.
I've been reading around, right, and sorry, I really sense a changing of attitudes, right? A shift in attitudes, because Xbox was always from Xbox Xbox is coming back soon, just trust the plan, Game Pass amazing, Phil Spencer good guy, gamer guy, he's wearing the shirts, he's cool, he's nice, he's doing the interviews, he's saying sorry that the studio, that they didn't pay enough attention to the studios, and he'll do better. And now it's just, all right, Phil, you've been saying this for 10 years. Shut the fuck up. Do something. Or just go away.
Okay. And then he does something, and it's literally putting a shotgun to the head of the
this is happening now. Because Phil, you said you wouldn't close them. Phil, you said you have learned. Phil, you said Game Pass would save. You said that Game Pass would allow small studios to exist because the big games will be on Game Pass, so small studios wouldn't be as focused on revenue. And now you're closing the small studios for revenue. You're lying, Phil. You've always been lying. For the past 10 years, you've been lying. Game Pass, stagnant, slowing down, not doing anything. You said you had your plan of growth. It's not working. What are you going to do now? And that attitude change is just like is happening from the beginning of the year when they suddenly were rumors they were going software only, and to me that is showing kind of that they always had this anxiety of always that has always existed, has existed for the last few years, but now really is the moment that there's been a betrayal, that there is a actual, hey, you said you were going to support small studios because, and that would be that you could do that because Game Pass exists. Now you say that those studios didn't make enough of an impact, so you lied. The plan has failed.
I saw an interesting post that was some post from some ex-Microsoft employee or something who was talking. It's internet, so what the fuck? My uncle works at Nintendo, right?
Mhm.
But he was talking about how the problem that's happening is Game Pass is suffocating the company.
I always thought that Game Pass would suffocate.
The reasoning is interesting because what's happened is you have Game Pass. Games come out on Game Pass, but because games are coming out on Game Pass, people are not buying the games. So they're not paying the $70 price for Starfield or whatever so that they can buy Starfield and own Starfield. They just play it on the $15 Game Pass and have their gameplay with it, and then when it leaves Game Pass, they're like, oh, I've played it. I don't need to play it anymore, right? Whatever. Don't care. I'm not going to buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, because game budgets keep getting so big, Game Pass is not scaling to to be able to support the bloated budgets of these AAA games or even AA games, because these big budgets rely on people buying the game at $9 to $100. I'm talking New Zealand money, right? Like $100, $120 for special editions or whatever, right? They need that purchase in the millions, right, to be able to make back the budget revenue to be able to make the next game.
Yeah, I've said this before.
But the Game Pass system supposedly is throwing a wrench into that, and it's cannibalizing those sales. And because there's not enough people joining Game Pass in order for Microsoft to fund those games, it's essentially like the problem is essentially infinite growth and expansion is a lie. is basically the basic problem, because the budgets keep getting bigger and bigger because exponential growth, right? But there's nothing to support that exponential. It's going to. I've talked about this before, right? Like, it's going to fucking collapse at some point because it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as infinite resources, right? You can't just keep fucking going under the assumption that everything is infinite. Eventually, it's going to run out. And I think that's what's happening at Microsoft right now, and that's why they shelved these studios, because they have to start fucking. They're in panic mode basically because they're looking at the numbers and the projections for like the next 5 years, and they're seeing, oh fuck, we're not going to be able to fucking afford this, right? We need to do something about this.
Yeah, so I always... Alright, this no proof exists, of course, but when first Game Pass came out, I said, ooh, that's not really good. And I did. And later it was, oh, they throwing a small game on Game Pass, they don't have faith in the game. They don't have faith that it will sell enough. And now, it's all true. All my fears and thoughts from when Game Pass first came out have come to fruition.
Yeah,
Game Pass
I wish I had that post, because that post was actually really interesting. I don't know if I retweeted or not. I'll have a look. But it was yesterday that I saw it, and it was like I read that and I was like, yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
like,
this is just my tooting my own horn from and telling you without proof that I knew this would happen from the moment they announced Game Pass. Game Pass was never sustainable. Game Pass would only exist as long as Microsoft were willing to put money into. And now Microsoft is not willing to put money into. Suddenly,
But the
all
problem
those...
they have is they're trapped now.
Yeah.
Because what are they going to do? Because if they get rid of Game Pass, then how are they going to sell like the Xbox? Like they've essentially put themselves in a bit of a trap, right?
Yeah.
Because if they get rid of the Game Pass, then they're going to lose all of that revenue they've been getting from Game Pass.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're also going to have a bunch of people. They're going to have a bunch of people really fucking mad at them about it, right?
Yeah, because Game Pass was such a good deal. So now you're going to... They either have to increase the price massively because Game Pass is like 10 a month or so, a little bit more. I mentioned this before, maybe even on a stream, that somebody who buys Game Pass, right, is paying for like 1.5 games, or maybe for 3 games at most per year. If you are a hardcore gamer, you might buy a game every month, every 2 months or so.
Yeah.
That makes way more money than so the point is that you're eating into your hardcore gaming audience income, and all the games Microsoft isn't bringing out a game every month. So all that money that would go to Hi-Fi Rush specifically, that would go to a Dishonored, that would go to whatever, is now going into a big Microsoft pot with no real way to attribute the success, the reason why you have Game Pass to buy that singular to play that singular game. If you want a pen and ink game, right? Side-scrolling, medieval setting in Belgium somewhere, in Ghent, maybe even. If you take Game Pass and then you play that game, that studio doesn't get any credit for that Game Pass. Even if you play that game for 6 months to warrant the cost, to match the cost of buying that game, the studio doesn't get the 30% cut, etc., doesn't get the $60. Yeah. It all goes to Game Pass. So you're taking away money from the developers. And
basic economics makes it impossible. Yeah, Goda's right in the chat. It's like it's essentially just they fucked themselves basically.
And now,
like, to put it in simple terms,
they only have 2 options, right? And I've seen this posted on with rumors and whatnot. Either they increase the price of Game Pass significantly to the point that they can again cover the cost of hosting all those games and covering the cost for making those games. Or they could very stupidly put Call of Duty on Game Pass.
Right.
So they can have a growth in it. So they can show growth for 1 quarter. They can show growth on Game Pass. And then that growth is dead again. And all those studios will be closed anyway.
And there's interesting parallels between this and the PlayStation story, I think. Because the PlayStation story seems to me like a very similar... We want to push this account linking thing to show, we had a 0.5% growth in PlayStation Network account creations this quarter. Big growth, big number, exponent. I really wish that a lot of these companies would just understand that infinite growth is a lie, right? As
but the thing...
it does not exist. You cannot make these business decisions based under the assumption that you're going to infinitely grow for the rest of eternity until the heat death of the universe, right? You are gonna have to... There is gonna be a point where you hit that fucking wall, right? And you're gonna have to fucking deal with that at some point. You can't
the solution
like
is to have AI talk to AI, showing AI ads to AI, so you have an economy that solely runs on AI, paying AI to do AI and AI.
But anyway,
I wanted to
Yeah.
slightly.
I'll let you cap it off because there's one more thing I want to talk about because I found something while I was scrolling looking for this thing, which I think would be a funny thing to end the show
All
on. So
right,
I'll let you
I'm
finish
going
this
to
up, and then
disagree slightly because the Xbox has tied its fate to Game Pass, and Game Pass is killing Xbox. So Xbox can delay the inevitable, or they can just do something so radical to make to stop using Game Pass, to stop have Game Pass being the core of their business, which is harder because they're doing so for the for 15 years or so. So either Xbox needs to do something. They need to increase the price massively. They need to show growth for 1 quarter so the big corporate Microsoft will be happy and give them a little bit more money and die the next year. Or people leave because Game Pass is too expensive and then it dies. I don't see really a way out for Xbox with Game Pass. But
no, you don't understand. They're gonna bring out a Steam Deck version, and it's gonna bring out the Xbox Deck, and it's all gonna be fine.
I don't think so. From all the rumors
the Switch is beating them to it, I guess. So
yeah, from all the rumors and rumblings, the hardware is never coming out, or
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
There's nothing new coming out of the hardware unless something big changes.
At least not from Microsoft. The PlayStation 5 Pro is already happening. That's
I mean, the Xbox might finish their current project, but they're not going to start a new one.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens. But
the only
anyway,
thing I wanted to say, the only one thing, this is where I was lengthily building up to, meandering towards. Sony can survive without that 0.5% account increase. Microsoft can't.
Yeah. Right. So I want to talk about Apple.
Oh, I saw
the
this
Apple fiasco. You have seen this, yeah. So Apple is bringing out a new iPad, right? A new iPad Pro, right? And their whole advertising campaign is about how thin it is. Super, super thin, paper thin.
That's not how you spell
iPad,
crush,
right? Crushes all.
Is this
all
how you spell it?
And so they put out this advertisement, which was basically they had a giant hydraulic press. And you had all of these representations of human artistic thing, like you had cans of paint and musical instruments and
photography, a game,
camera lenses and games and controllers and funny emojis and stuff. And they have the hydraulic press crush all of this artistic
music,
material,
painting, art,
literature, it all down. Yeah, it crushes it all down, and there's a big explosion as it crushes it all, and what's left is the new iPad, the thinnest iPad ever made, the ThinPad or whatever, iPad Pro. And you want to know the funniest thing about this? The people that were the most mad about this was the Japanese.
I saw that, but to be honest,
it was the funniest fucking thing ever. Like, because I saw some examples of some tweets from Japanese Twitter where they were so fucking mad. Like, they were really fucking going at Apple about this. They're like, how dare you destroy all these instruments, and this is you're so disrespectful to art in Japan. Oh, how could you betray Japan? Because apparently the iPad is really popular in Japan. A lot of people in Japan really like Apple products, right? They're really big in Japan. So the Japanese side of things was absolutely fucking fuming about this. Because I saw the ad and my initial reaction was, okay, this is kind of dumb, and I didn't really stop and think about it because I'm like, oh, it's just another dumb Apple ad, right? Whatever. But then I started seeing all the people complaining about it, and I'm like, oh fuck, yeah, actually, the message behind it is so fucking weird.
Yeah,
we're going to condense all of humanity's achievements in art and all of this equipment, this billions of dollars of equipment. We're going to destroy it all and merge it into this grey bland black slab of glass, right?
Oppressed into uniformity.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know. I get what they were going for on the basic message level, because it's obviously meant to be like, oh yeah, we've compressed all this down into such a thin package. It's so look how cool it is, right? That you can do all of these things in this small package. But the meta narrative message of Apple being like, yeah, we're going to destroy all other forms of art and mix it in the blender and turn it into slop. Right, right.
Yeah, this is why the offer is dead, Naretsu. This is the
this is
the original
why.
intent of the piece doesn't matter at all. This is what it is.
But my problem is like, okay, so my thing is I can't believe that, because the CEO posted the video, right? And he's so smug about it.
Yeah.
He sounds so happy and so proud of this fucking video, and then it's just everyone's reaction was like the notification of Fallout 4. Everyone disliked that.
I want to say that before I forget, right? Maybe the focus on the Japanese reactions, maybe a little bit of confirmation bias, and maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, but it was. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah,
it was funny.
But just
seeing the Japanese people just being like so angry, because you never really see that a lot, right? So it's quite funny to see the Japanese reaction being so. I think because obviously people on the English side have been reacting in much the same kind of way, right?
That's what I wanted to go through.
Less from a like, you are disrespecting art kind of sense, because that's the general vibe I get from the Japanese responses, and more like the vibe I've been getting from the English side is, why the fuck does it have to be so thin? Right? Why? Because having it be so thin is just gonna make it more like issues with thermals. It's gonna make it brittler, right? Because it's so thin. You know, it's more likely to get bent or damaged when it falls over or whatever. So like, what, like, this has been a problem with technology for a while. Like, there's no real benefit to having it be that thin, and if anything, it kind of makes it harder to handle, especially for people that probably have larger hands. You know, it kind of, maybe Donald Trump hands might not have a problem with it, but you know, people with larger hands are going to have a bit more of a problem because there's less to grip onto, right? So there's not like, what's the actual benefit of having it be like 0.5 millimeters thick, right? Like what does that actually get you, right? In terms of a device.
All right,
like,
I have an update. Breaking update.
Breaking news.
Apple says sorry.
Jamie, bring that up. I want to read. Jamie, bring that up on the stream. Let's go.
1 second. I need to.
I want to see the. I want to see the South Park BP guy on the street. He's gonna. I'm sorry.
This is some Verge article.
Oh yeah.
Whoosh.
I'm waiting for it. Whoosh. For it to show up on my side so I can look at it. Once it. Whoosh. Here we go. And oh yeah. Apple apologizes for iPad Crush ad that missed the mark. The pump. Yeah, literally. The company says, we're sorry. We're sorry. I don't know if you've ever seen that South Park episode with the BP guy.
Yeah, I've seen the clips. I never saw the episode itself.
Yeah. We have to put out a statement. So the guy's just like, we're sorry. He's just like walking and like patting animals and like helping children and starving children. And he's like, we're sorry. We're so sorry. We're sorry. After the ad was seen as dismissive by creatives, Apple typically tries to court. Yeah. So I want to see the full quote though. Like scroll down a little bit.
I don't know. Here's
the mark.
1 second.
Yeah, see if you can find the full quote for
it. Here, this is. Well, this is the
statement. Oh yeah, there you go. All right. Creativity is our DNA at Apple. Is incredibly important to us to design products that empower creatives all over the world. Our goal is always to celebrate the myriad of ways users express themselves and bring their ideas to life through iPad. We missed the mark with this video, and we're sorry. We're
Does it
sorry.
saying Hugh
Is there
Grant called it
anything
a
else?
destruction of the human experience? On the Twitter? I can on the Twitter.
Oh, that's great.
The destruction.
Handmaiden's Tale. Handmaiden's Tale director told them to read the room. They've got to read the room.
Oh, that's the article. But
yeah, they're just quoting tweets. They're just quoting people. Fucking.
Was there anything?
And that's it.
No.
And that's it. Oh, that's funny.
Is there any
We're
more?
sorry.
All right.
We're sorry.
No, that's it. No other.
Look, I don't use Apple products. I've never really been a big fan of Apple. I know that they're fine, right? There's nothing wrong with Apple products. I don't like the culture around it, right? And I'm not a big fan of the way that they kind of the smugness, right, around Apple. But yeah, and also the fact that they're overpriced as fuck is another reason I don't typically like Apple. But I just think this whole situation is just so funny because it feels like because they must have been so proud of their ad, right? They're so happy. They're so this is such a great idea. And there's no one in the office, right? No one in the office was like autistic enough to kind of be like, wait a minute. Wait a fucking this might not give us
in your advertisement or in your celebration of art, you usually don't destroy them all.
Crush, yeah. You usually don't destroy it, yeah. It's just, Oh god, but yeah, I wanted to end the stream on that because I thought it would be a fun one to end with because it's quite a good one. But anyway, so yeah, hopefully back to normal time next week, and maybe we'll do a longer video. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
See what happens. We'll see what happened. See what happened. But anyway, it was a good.
Until more than next week.
Yes. Until more than next week. So we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Later.
Bye. Later. Bye.